this message said uh, simply right. Okay, so simply following the Zoom or the Meet. So this is not the true sense the online learning. It has a different philosophy, different ecosystem that we have to understand. So this is what one of the fact of the pandemic. And the second one is my feeling, though I am the student of the technology, my background, I am the student of the computer science and engineering, but my feeling is technology is not the issue. So we should not bother about the digital divide. That is not a big problem. The big problem will be the knowledge divide. So because of the pandemic, there will be a big gap between those having a good knowledge and those having no good knowledge, right? So this is the gap. So this gap, knowledge gap, is more disaster than this digital gap. So technology is not the issue, as I have understood. But the main issue is to identify the problems. So what are the problems that we have right now? What are the challenges that we have right now? So are they the same or the different? So these are the issues that we have to, I have to, we have to understand. So once it is identified, the technology will come automatically. So these are the facts of the pandemic. Now, coming back to the accelerating progress in education. So how do I move? Like first, we have to understand where are we in education? What are the shortcomings? What are the pitfalls? What are the challenges right now we have in the education systems? Then, where would we like to reach? So what is our target? What is our goal? Where is our destinations? That also has to be defined. So that also has to be included while talking about accelerating the progress in educations that I feel. Then, what is the state of art of education system? So these are the things are to be discussed. These are the things to be clear. So we have to be very much clear about our path, our track, our destinations. If we think about accelerating progress. Now, I will start the $1 million question, right? So we are from Nepal, and Bangladesh is our neighboring country, and so it is related to even to Bangladesh also. So why are we still least developed country, right? Why are we still least developed country? Why we are not concerned about that? So who will give the answer? So this is the consortium of the very across people, very high skilled people. So we do expect the answer from this conference. By the end of the conference, maybe this we will get a good answer, right? But from my perspective, because we still do not know what we need, right? We still do not know. What we do, we ask someone to come to our country. We ask the ADB, we ask the World Bank, we ask the JICA, COICA, European Union, please come to our country and just tell us what do we need it, right? So that has been happening. So that is the reason why we are still a least developed country, from my perspective. And why don't we still know what we need? It's another question, right? And this question, because we never give priority for the educations. We talk a lot about educations, right? We never give priority. I have never heard a single statement from the educationists saying that many kids are now they're in the lockdown and the teachers are now affected. Our education systems are being affected. No one has talked. Everyone is talking about the business is collapsed, factories getting closed, tourism is bad. So these are all the issues. But the main issue we are not talking about. So education, we never give the priority. And also, we still confuse what to learn and how to learn. And when you talk about the online learning, so let me make one thing very clear. Online learning is not what we have been teaching in the class. What we have been teaching as a face-to-face, just use the Zoom, Meet, or other learning management systems and follow. No. That curriculum also has to be revisited. That structure also has to be rejuvenated. So we are still confused, right? It's the second wave of this pandemic, but still we are confused about the online. Why? Because we never give the priority for the educations. We talk, but we don't do. So this is the fact. And so this pandemic has divided the world into the two eras. And we are very fortunate. We are fortunate that we are having the experience in both eras. One, the world before coronavirus and the world after coronavirus or during coronavirus or the pandemic. So you can see the picture here now. Before, you can see a very the people in the jolly mood. They are just they are chatting to each other. They are just enjoying, sharing their joy. But at the right side, you can see the people are very reluctant to go and meet. They are putting the masks, maintaining the social distances, like a scaring face. So this is the scenario, right? Though it is said, like I just heard, like in America, after the two vaccines, you are not. It's up to you if you even if you put the mask or not. But this is the scenario. So this pandemic has divided the world into two eras. Then, so I'll go a little fast about this one. This is simply the data. So this pandemic has affected more than 191 countries and 1.5 billion students, right? This is simply the data. Even in our country, Nepal, more than 35,000 community schools are closed. 9 million students were affected as per the UNESCO report. And higher education system, 700,000 students are affected. And the students having no objection certificate, 70,000 are still waiting to go abroad for the further study, right? So this is the scenario. And 100,000 students are waiting for abroad. So this is the fact. And this scenario should make us little much worried. Okay? Though the worry does not have the solutions, but we have to think about that. And saying like facts, like why I have just told about the old into two eras, because the education before the coronavirus is not or should not or will not be the same as the education after coronavirus. Because the things what we have learned, the things what we have taught to our student, that will not be the same. Why? Because the challenges are the different. So challenges are the different. The challenges before the coronavirus and challenges after the coronavirus are entirely different. And we expect the education should address the challenges. And we are having the educations for the challenges which was before the coronavirus. And if we do not update the education as per the challenges that we have right now, we will have in coming days. So that education will not help us. So that is the reason why I have been telling that education also has to be reformed. And there will be no lack of employment in after coronavirus. Only there will be shortage of skills. Now we have to hit here. So what are those skills that we do need at our education system? So this is what we have to think about that. And as one of the book, Alvin Toffler has said, so the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So these has a different meaning. We know what is learn, what is only relearn, but unlearn that if the time permits, I'll talk at the end of my presentation. So this is the fact. So that is the reason why we have to reform our existing educational systems to address the challenges and during the or post-COVID-19. So having said all this, so we have the new role. The teacher also has a new role. Student also has a new role. Now we are no more teacher. We are also learning with them. We are also learning with the student, right? We are now more facilitator, more mentor, not the traditional teacher. And we have the new role now. So what is the new role? The first question, or this answer we have to understand, whom are we teaching? Who are the student, right? So we are teaching those students for whom the technology is not the technology. They are born after the Google, they are born after the YouTube, they are born after the cloud, they are born after the iPhone, iPad, right? So they are born after these technologies, like in 2006 or 7, when there was a huge technology, it's a miracle. So after that, they were born. So for them, technology is not technology. So they are the digital natives, right? And they are not expecting teacher as a content experts. They do not want us to say what. They are more excited. They are more much eager to understand why, but not only why, how. If we say carbon dioxide has to be controlled in our country, if we say we should not go for the deforestation, okay, fine. Why? Because if we say we should not cut the tree because we have to preserve our nature and this climate change, but they will ask second question, how How can we preserve our nature? How can we minimize the carbon dioxide emission? So these are the like tendencies of the digital native. So we have to prepare for those. So those students. So this is the new era. So that's what I wanted to tell. So again, I'm telling, online education or online teaching learning is not only to follow the Zoom and others. That is the more disastrous. That is not the way. Okay? Then, for my perspective, or what education exactly means, my understanding is we have to equip our students to address the challenges that they have in their life, right? So whatever the challenges they have to maintain those things. So we have to equip our students. So education should be smart enough to equip our students. Not only that, it should give the strength. It should give the strength to create as well as grab the opportunity, manage the challenges as not only to wait for the opportunity. We have to make our student smart enough to create the opportunity. Let the other people come and grab our opportunity created by our student. Education should be like this, my understanding, right? Then, so let me allow to say spend a couple of minutes on this: adaptability, self-learning, unlearning, and lifelong learning. So these are the skills that we do need right now in our education systems. If we do not have these skills, we are simply wasting our time. Not our only time, we are doing injustice to our children, our students. So adaptability is one of the skills that we have to induce to our student. Whatever the circumstances it comes, they should have the courage to adapt themselves, whatever situation comes, right? Adaptability. Self-learning, now see, now we are using the Zoom. So we are asking the student to do the self-learning, but we never taught them how to do the self-learning, right? So we have to teach them self-learning. They should not depend on teacher. So we always have to put the curiosity on their mind, put the question on your mind, right? So that they keep on doing the self-learning mechanisms. And another one is unlearning. Unlearning is, as adaptability, I have said, the student has to adapt as for the situations and the circumstances. So unlearning means sometimes the things which we have read when we were a student, that we may not need those things, right? So, but we have the human tendency, this is the human nature. Oh no, I have read this chapter. I have read this book when I was at my school and I got an A grade. I have to teach the same thing. That tendency has to be stopped. The things which we have read, the things which we discussed when we were a student, that may not be relevant now. So unlearning is a mechanisms of just thanking the things which we have learned and recycling ourselves for the new things. And lifelong learning, yes, that is also because our students, they graduate from the university at the age of 22 and 23, but they will be working till the age of 60 years, right? When they reach at the age of 30, so new circumstances will come, new challenges will come, new opportunities will come. So they have to adapt themselves. For the adaptation, they have to go for the lifelong learning. So these are the skills that we have to have in our education system in this pandemic. This is what I wanted to share. Then our students should be more seeker than only believer, right? If you are just teaching, let us say, the gravitational force, F equal to G times M1, M2 by R squared. We should not teach just to put the value and get the force. No, we have to just tell them, see, G is the gravitational constant, M1 is the mass of one object, M2 is the mass of other object, R is the distance between the center. But they have to ask why you have considered from the center of the object while calculating the distance. These things are these are the things that we have to teach to our students. They have to be more seeker than more believer. So this is what from my perspective, like, so I just share with you. But the question is, do we have such education system right now? Not only in Nepal, I have gone through even the MIT and Harvard curriculum also. Even I have gone to the Nanyang Technological Singapore curriculum also. They are still working. They are still working, like, how can they revisit these education systems? How can they induce? right? So creativity, collaborative, so these are all these skills that we have to have. And people have still reluctant, no, creativity cannot be taught in the class. It can be, only we have to be changed. So this is what I wanted to say about the education systems from my perspective. Then the technology for accelerating progress in educations and equality in education, which is also one of the target of the SDG 4, Sustainable Development 4. They have said everyone should have the very good education, quality education, or quality education for all. And these are only possible with the technology. Then finally, the solution of the conclusion. So having said all these issues, all these problems, all these cases, now online learning is not the final solution. I have been repeating. We have the misconception. Online learning is not the final solution. Now, what we have to do if it is not the final solution, then we have to create a digital ecosystem. We have to create a digital ecosystem, right? So digital ecosystem for what? To empower whom? To digital native. So digital ecosystem to empower the digital natives for what? For digital economy and the pandemic. Because now the entire the world has understood or has realized managing the pandemic or the pandemic management also one of the global issues. So we have to make our student smart enough to manage and to survive with this pandemic. So digital ecosystem is needed, not only online. Online is a simple part of these digital ecosystems. Online learning is, there are so many asynchronous, synchronous, learning management systems. There are so many things. There are so many technologies, artificial intelligence for the remote proctoring. Even people, they say, how can we evaluate in online? There are the ways, right? They are the simple way using the artificial intelligence. Even you can guide, even if you can evaluate your student, right? So the artificial intelligence, remote proctoring is possible because I have seen one systems where they have used the artificial intelligence for the remote proctoring. It is possible. So all these things are to be discussed within the framework of digital ecosystem. Then learning how to learn and adopting the changing environment and the changing as per the role are one of the best solution after or during the COVID-19. So education should move into that direction. Then technical plus social skills and lifelong learning. So these are the needed, right? Simply the technocrats will not survive now. Even if someone is very good in Java, someone is very good in Python, they will not survive if they do not have the social skill, right? And at the same time, lifelong learning. Then the theme of this webinar, acceleration, can be addressed by the technologies. Acceleration can be managed by the technology, but here also we have to be smart enough to select the appropriate technologies. Not all the technology will support the acceleration. One thing what we do the mistake here in our country, we say, yeah, these technologies are being used in Canada. These technologies are being used in New Zealand. So let's use the technology. No. So they have used that technology for their ecosystems. New Zealand, they may have used those technology for their systems. Okay, we have to first identify our systems, our issue, our problem-solving skills, our styles. And once it is identified, or once we are very clear about our system, then only we can just say, okay, this technology or not that technology like this. So acceleration can be addressed by the technology, whereas education equality is only possible with the education reformation. I'm very sorry to say, with due respect to all the educationists, existing education system will not address the problem that what we have right now, not only in Nepal, throughout the world. So this is my solution. And finally, the take-home message is virtual learning is required, but with enough preparation and change mindset. The old mindset will not drive us to the virtual learning. So we have to change. We have to be open-minded, right? So that is what I wanted to tell. And technology just empowers us. It accelerates our project, but it doesn't give the solution. No, you should not do the blunder just expecting the solution from the technology. Technology is just a tool. right? Technology is not the everything. But technology, it empowers us. It helps us, right? But we have to be smart enough in selecting that technology. With this, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Manish sir, for your enlightening speech, and particularly with your keynote speech. And digital ecosystem is what we need today and tomorrow. Thank you so much for highlighting on this fact. So we appreciate each and every word shared by you, which carries tremendous value to the objective of the entire seminar. And we can work uh, as per what you have suggested. And definitely all the words that you have shared, all the ideas that you have suggested can be a guiding principle for the people who are involved in this learning and teaching practices in days to come. Thank you so much, Manish sir, for coming
Thank you very much.
to this event and also delivering an excellent speech as a keynote speaker. We really appreciate. Thank you so much, Manish sir. Okay, now proceeding with the program. Now there is a
Thank you,
uh,
Madam Sir.
okay, there is a major takeaways from day one, which will be done by Mahesh ji initially, followed by Shreya Khakril if needed. So please, Mahesh Bhatta, please proceed with your.
Thank you, Ujjwal sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the seminar. We had a successful event yesterday with an insightful discussion on accelerating progress and equality in education in Nepal. And active involvement from over 100 participants, including representation from the UNDP, has proven the significance of this event and also added value to it. We also had participation from who are watching us live from Facebook and other social media as well. Presenters and representatives not only from Kathmandu but also from outside Kathmandu, presented their working experience during the pandemic. We have myself and Shreya will be presenting few key takeaways from yesterday's session. The pandemic has disturbed every sector, including the education sector, which has a direct impact on achieving sustainable development goals target, especially the goal number 4. The entire education system has been globally challenged by the pandemic, as we all know, and countries like Nepal have been even more affected as there are not adequate resources and infrastructure. We have to adapt with the new technology. So after the first lockdown, and that was implemented in 2020 last year for a couple of months in Nepal, educational institutions started adopting new ways of virtual teaching. However, it was a new experience for all of us, and we were not used to this online system and the virtual system. It was a bit difficult for us in the beginning. However, with time, we started learning by doing experience. There is a huge digital as well as knowledge divide gap, urban versus rural. Yesterday, we were talking about the digital divide. However, the keynote speaker rightly mentioned this morning about the knowledge divide as well. So there is a huge digital as well as knowledge divide with the among the urban students as well as between in the rural institution and rural students. As per the Oxfam report 2020, 1 out of 5 students is not being allowed to go to school because of the pandemic. So it shows the huge challenge in front of all the concerned stakeholders. So how to ensure the quality and equality in education? Another challenge that the pandemic has created is not only to provide quality in education, but also equality in education. Poor education infrastructures, not only in terms of hardware, as well as in terms of software, has been another challenge for countries like Nepal. And I'm sure this is similar kind of scenario in other countries in the South Asia region as well. So there is a need to focus on distance learning, not only on online learning, especially in the post-pandemic situation. So we also had a representative from CAS. So Conrad Adino Stiftung is committed to the Sustainable Development Goals that has been contributing to achieving Sustainable Development Goals in different capacities, with the objectives to support SDG Target 4 to address and promote education equality and quality. Education quality and equality. CAS Space has been organizing such national seminars across 11 countries, which will be later followed by a regional seminar. Now, we also discussed on online education is just an alternative. It is not a solution, since we all have been forced to adopt this system, as there is no other alternative and no other option. So theoretical classes is still possible. However, what about the classes like pure science, like lab practices, engineering, medical science, etc. So it is not possible to conduct this kind of classes online. It has also impacted hugely on social science research, particularly when you conduct the first-hand research. We are not being able to go in the field, collect data. So there is a huge impact in this sector as well. Similarly, we also had discussion from the IT service provider perspective. IT service providers are facing immense challenges in Nepal. Internet service is not well available all over the country, especially in the rural part of Nepal. Therefore, many academic institutions have been hugely affected, especially outside Kathmandu. There has been a huge demand for internet using during the pandemic, during the lockdown. So over 30% demand for internet use has been increased in the lockdown. Similarly, 30% of new internet users enrolled during the lockdown. So this shows the demand of internet, especially during the lockdown. And are we in a position to fulfill this gap is the question. Yesterday also we discussed briefly about this. Another important point was there was a high tax has been imposed on internet service from the government side, and this is a major challenge. Many of us were not aware about this practice here. So it has been a huge challenge for the internet service providers to fulfill the sudden demand. Moreover, over 40% tax on the internet from the government has made it further difficult to fulfill this gap. So these were the key takeaways from my side. So Shreya, if you would like to add a few other points on this, please, over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I'll be focusing more on the micro scale of it. We did talk about challenges. We did talk about from an institutional level. But when we disagree the discussion that we had yesterday, these challenges can be categorized as per students as well as from teachers' perspective as well. From a student's perspective, the reverse migration of the students back to the rural villages definitely has impeded their access to quality education. And as our keynote speaker mentioned, it is definitely going to create a more wider knowledge divide than that was already existing in our country. From a teacher's perspective, one of the issues has been the morale of the teachers, from the pressure of the guardians as well as the passive participation of the students. The teachers' morale has been identified to be very low. So with the teachers' morale being low, the education quality is definitely also going to be affected. So that is also a place where educational institutions from a micro level can intervene and bring about positive transformation. In terms of ICT infrastructure as well, the keynote speaker for yesterday, the president of Subiso, the CEO of Subiso Internet, he has highlighted that despite the challenges of high taxation and the geographical terrain, difficulty that geographical terrain of Nepal poses in terms of taking bandwidth to the remote areas, despite that, the government has been, as the private companies have been collaborating with the local government, especially in the ward levels, so as to ensure that internet facilities, especially in terms of bandwidth, will be adequately provided to even the remote areas. And there have been plans to ensure that there will be a compulsory integration of internet services, especially in the three sectors. And those three sectors are health services, education services, as well as the public service, the public general service of at the ward level. So that is definitely going to help bridge the gap between the remote areas and the access to knowledge. So those are the key takeaways. And we did have a very amazing discussion, very thought-provoking discussions yesterday, and I'm very confident that that will be carried on to today. So with that, I would like to conclude the major takeaways of yesterday's seminar. And now we will be proceeding with the third session of our program. So our first presenter is our very own Mr. Ujjwal Upadhyay. He is the Senior Program Coordinator at National College, Kathmandu University, and he will be presenting on the topic, Online Classes Amid COVID-19 Pandemic Challenges and Opportunities. Ujjwal, sir, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shreya. So hope you are listening me, and also my slide is shared this time, not having problem like yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are already running out of time. That's why I would be trying to go faster. First of all, my sincere gratitude to Principal of National College, Mr. Madhav Prasad Neupane, and also Director of CSAS, Dr. Nishalnath Pandey, and Megha Sharma, representing Political Asia Dialogue from CAS, and all my dear friends, respected and esteemed faculty members, and most importantly, chair of the session, Ms. Chetna Thapa, and two of my fellow presenters, Ms. Sindhu Tuladhar and Galijang Sampang sir, and all my dear students, whoever watching this program. And apart from National College, all the international participants who have been watching and enjoying this session and also adding a lot of value to this event. So my sincere gratitude to all of you. So following the topic of this presentation, which is online classes amid COVID-19 pandemic challenges and opportunities, we have discussed a lot about challenges. So whatever I have prepared in the slides, I will be trying to skip those which have already been discussed a lot. So I'll be focusing more on opportunities. So regarding this research, I tried to consult with students, faculty members, and administrators of 3 private colleges, one being National College itself. And the National College is where I represent, which runs 3 Kathmandu University affiliated undergraduate program, the Bachelor in Development Studies, Development Finance, and Social Sciences. And a representative sampling from all these 3 programs were conducted while getting information and data from those students, and accordingly from the faculty and faculty members and administrators. So the background is, the biggest thing is public health and safety. That's why the keeping distance is important, followed by personal hygiene. So masks come as a third option. That's why the biggest thing and the most important thing is to prevent yourself from the virus. Physical distancing is the most important thing, that which has hampered the educational institute most, apart from very many. So academic activities, those were in practice before pandemic and lockdown, were the physical classes with audio visuals, interactive sessions, presentations, group works, guest lectures, and field studies. These were the integral part of the conventional academic activities that we had been practicing, and that was really very useful to students and faculties and everyone who were quite used to with all such kind of activities. Similarly, extracurricular activities in the colleges and educational institutes like College Day, Youth Fest, National Open Day, Welcome Farewell Party, Orientation to the Freshers, Annual Party, Universities Convocation, Felicitation Dinners, and Job Fest. So a lot of entertainment-oriented co-curricular activities were on practice. But what happened in March 19 in Nepal, in Kathmandu? So government declared the directives to shut down all the educational institutes, apart from many other institutes as well. So followed by nationwide lockdown after 4 days. So actually many of the institutions, including National College, we waited for like a couple of weeks with the positivity in the mind that everything will go back to the normal and we will be able to go back to the educational institute. But things wasn't same. The lockdown kept extended. So what we had to do was, and what kind of problem that we started facing was, this was one of the greatest threat in our lifetime. So 161 countries all over the world got shut down, and 186 countries countrywide closure, impacting 90% of the world's student population. And these were the data also presented by Dr. Manish Pokhrel. That's why I'll try to skip that. But this challenge also came as opportunity. So there were numerous concerns about the online and distance education in Nepal, but this also came as an opportunity to improve and upgrade the education system, because our education system were very much being criticized for being quite conventional and quite traditional, not being able to adopt the ideas and technologies that we should have adopted from the Western countries and the Western universities. So this also came with the opportunities, and this also helped to improve our digital infrastructure. So now many of the moderate to less moderate institutions too have upgraded their digital infrastructures, installing internet facilities and many more. So what is the rationale of the education is, Nepal has also been practicing remote distance learning strategies with online tools before this pandemic as well, because there is the National Open University in Nepal, which has been in operation since 2010, and that has been running this education system. But this also enabled all the faculty members and students and all the learners and teachers to practice this online education system along with whatever they are studying as a part of curriculum. This also gave opportunity for them to upgrade with the digital learning system as well. So classes were started online after we waited for a couple of weeks, since there was no improvement in the pandemic scenario. So we decided to start our class on April 2. And it was absolutely unbelievable for all of us when our college had got shut down. At that time, we were not, convinced at all that we can ever conduct classes online, but this happened. right? And it happened for the first time, and it took about 3 weeks, and all the classes in national college started taking place online, and similar things happened to other few colleges as well, where I got the data. Similarly, along with the classes, when we started running online classes for 2 to 3 weeks, we thought that everything is going quite fine, but scenario wasn't as hopeful as we expected. We started receiving lots of issues from the students and faculties. So what were those? Students and faculties, they started complaining like the classes are being monotonous, right? It is quite difficult for us to understand the digital subjects, numerical subjects like mathematics, statistics, and accountings. So poor access to internet facility and devices to those students who started returning back to their rural areas. So they did not have any kind of access to such kind of devices and internet facilities. So also the teachers not being familiar to the new system and technologies. So difficult to record students' presence, because as per the university's requirement, it's quite important for all the students to maintain the 80% attendance. So online means it became difficult for us to understand whether a student is actually participating or not. Similarly, the 90-minute session that we used to carry out, so it also became quite long for the online sessions. So no access to the physical library, so no access to the sports and outdoor activities, so no means of entertainment like cafeteria, cafes, gatherings, jammings. So these are the common, these are some of the common expectations of the students who are studying undergraduate level. So based on their age and their expectation. Now, what were the solutions? As I said that, challenges also come with solutions, that then we tried to overcome the monotonous classes by making it more interactive. We requested our faculties, we also requested our students, we encouraged our students to try to make classes more interactive so that it will overcome this monotony. Similarly, we started giving ideas to our faculties and students to make proper use of technology. Similarly, we started inviting more guest lecturers and animated PowerPoints, videos, quizzes. So this really helped to overcome first problem. So what about the second problem, which is the numerical courses? Then teaching method was also changed. Teachers started preparing animated PowerPoint slides, videos, individual exercises, application-oriented teaching materials, and also use of Zoom and Google Meet-based whiteboards, so that the teachers started, teaching everything that are quite difficult for the numerical subjects. Similarly, so in order to overcome this issue of internet facilities, access to internet facilities, in most part of the countries, 4G internet service are available, which can be purchased via data packs at the cost of less than 25 cents. So this became really useful. And around 17% students not having access to Wi-Fi services in the rural areas started using this data. And there were 3 students in total sampled students. There were 3 students in total who were devoid of access to even 4G internet. That's why they had to travel like 10 to 15 minutes from their home to some other place where could access to this 4G internet. So despite there were 10% students complaining about the initiation, but later they were able to meet all the academic requirements just because of the access that 4G internet service provided by the NTC and NCell services, apart from the Wi-Fi services being, apart from the Wi-Fi services that are being provided by the companies like Suvisu and many others. Regarding the age composition, so most of the faculties in our private colleges, they come from the age group of 41 to 50 years, followed by the 51 to 65 years. So teachers having age of 20 to 30 and 31 to 40 were relatively less, and faculties having age more than 65 were only 9%. That's why it wasn't a big deal for us to give digital knowledge to the faculties in order to make classes more interesting. So training of the teachers also became important for us, and we started carrying out that. And digital literacy became important, and online teaching methods also, both teaching and evaluation also got changed and customized. So regarding difficulties in maintaining students' attendance record, rather than forcing students to attend classes, they were encouraged to attend classes by making lecture sessions more productive. And similarly, the class representatives were formed, and they were given the responsibilities to maintain the actual attendance of the students by making sure whether students are coming just for the sake of presence or they are actually participating. So in some cases, the duration of the classes were also reduced to 75 minutes, and also started being availed 10 minutes break within. So more interactive classes it turned into, and video and animated presentation materials also helped to overcome this monotony of the class. So regarding the access to physical library, slowly many of the educational institute, including National College, has also started providing online access to Gesture, Quest, remote access. So right now students can have access to more than 60 million books and resource materials by this online library. So had there been no lockdown, had there been no pandemic, perhaps we would not have been able to provide this kind of digital, access to the libraries to the students that we have been providing. Similarly, availing recordings of each lecture sessions immediately. So because all the classes are being taken place through Google Meet, where the recording option is there, and immediately after the completion of the class, students are availed with that digital recording of the classroom, which they can revisit to understand things even better. So there was no way that students could do before the pandemic or in the physical classes. So regarding no access to sports and outdoor activities, many of the education institute, including National College, is also trying to conduct some online musical events. That has happened for more than 3 to 4 times, and similarly online concerts too. So slowly the trend is changing. Similarly, difficult to conduct assignments. So this was very much corrected by the application of digital learning and e-learning tools like the use of G Suites, right? The benefits are the organized database. Teachers won't have to collect emails from individual students regarding the assignments. So all the assignments that students do, they collectively go and archive into the system, which is teacher can access any time of his or her convenience. So easy marking. So marking system has also become easy. Once the teacher puts the mark, immediately students get that score along with the feedback. So prompt response to students regarding scores, grades they get. So checking plagiarism. When the students have been copying from here and there, it's quite difficult to verify whether the texts are plagiarized or not when the assignments is submitted in the hard copy form. So in the digital form, it is quite easy to check their plagiarism as well. So maintaining deadlines because of the system. So once the student fails to meet the deadline, system automatically cancels the submission of the assignment, where students cannot complain later. So class interaction is important, definitely. Quizzes, presentations, seminars, a group of or individual presentation, workshops, web shops. So such things are important. So what we have been facing most as a, what we have been facing the most terrible scenario right now is the field visits. There is no way we can replace the benefits of the field visits that used to happen physically. So more case studies based learnings are being prioritized nowadays, where students can visit the YouTube videos and also the many monitoring and evaluation related reports, and based on that student can write the case studies regarding what is happening where. So physical field visit is something that we haven't been able to compensate for. And addressing COVID cases as well. So apart from giving them ideas, knowledge, and encouraging them to take part in the learning activities, we have to address the COVID cases as well. So many of our teachers, faculty members, staff members, even students, their family members, they are suffering from the COVID. And we cannot ask everyone to focus on study despite the pandemic, despite the problem that they have been having at their own house, own home. And they are, facing problem with their psychological health. That's why, as per the university rule, 80% classroom attendance is mandatory, right? But the privileges were given to the students suffering from this disease or any of the family members suffering from it. So they were availed with the access to asynchronous class videos recording so that they could visit later despite missing the class. And their assignments deadlines were also extended. So attendance were considered. So, and these things were regularly being updated to the university as well. And university has been quite cooperative and quite helpful in understanding such things. So what has been the outcome? So ever since the closure of the college since March 19, so what have been the outcomes that we have been able to make by making digital technologies, faculties, students, families, and all that faculties together? What are the outcomes that we have been able to derive? So classes have taken place for 240 days continuously as of May 31, as of yesterday. So continuously for 2,880 online lectures at National College with no major hitches whatsoever. So 390 students were involved in the spring session from March 19 to September 12 last year into 2020, and were involved in all academic activities, and no dropouts recorded. So 287 students have been involved in the fall session from October 5 of 2020 to March 19 of 2021 and were involved in all academic activities. And the result is yet to publish. So new admission is something that was severely affected due to delay of the high school examination by more than 9 months. So new admission and new academic session for freshers were supposed to take place from September 2020, but started only from the February 15, 2021 because of the reluctance of the higher secondary education board to take the examination, conduct examination on time. And student field costs were also rebated because the students couldn't go to the field visits, and the fees that they had paid for the field visits were also rebated. And college also offered financial assistance to the suffered ones under the COVID scholarship for 15 students. But only 14 students applied for the support and all were supported. So this was the scenario. So when there is a will, there is a way, because just 15 months before that, we had not thought that we could go through online classes in this manner. We would become able to accommodate all 400 students of the college, all 55 faculty members and all 20 staff members into the system. But it happened within 15 days after we said that it is impossible. So when there is a will, there is a way. And this has been happening in most of the educational institute in our Kathmandu and many parts of the country and many parts of the world as well. So thank you very much. So this has been all from my side, and there will be another session after this where we can further discuss about this matter if you have any question. So in regard to proceed with next presentation right away, so I would like to request our coordinator from National College, Mr. Galijang Sampang, to proceed with this presentation. Thank you very much.
So is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, it is.
Hello.
Thank you. Yes.
So thank you also for a wonderful presentation. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you, especially the chair of the session, Ms. Chetna Thapa, Principal of National College, Mr. Madhav Prasad Nupani, and Director of CSAS, Dr. Nishalnath Pandey, and representative from KS Singapore, Ms. Megha Sharma, all the participating institutions, and especially the students. Welcome all of you. Good morning. So today I have a topic which is ensuring student success, preventing dropouts, and making online education interesting. So I have 3 different topics. I'll be brief as much as possible with the time delay that we have. So is my slide visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible.
So I have 3 different contents. So the first is student success, and then I'll be talking about student dropouts, and then the third is online education. So when we talk about student success, there is no universal definition about what student success is. So after going through various research articles and the papers that I researched through, I found some of the components that ensure student success. So the first is intellectual development. So intellectual development basically is about developing skills that help you to develop your knowledge base and communicate those knowledge base as well. So it's basically learning how to learn, and as well as how to think critically as well. So the second is social development. So as we live in society, we don't live in isolation. Developing social skill is very, very important. So social skills like leadership skills, interpersonal skills are very, very important for all-round development of students. So third and most important is the ethical development. So when we talk about ethical development, it's about building a clear value system that determines your personal character. So which is very, very important for a student. So the fourth is emotional development. So emotional development basically reflects your ability to understand your emotions, manage your emotions, and express your emotions. And it's also about understanding others' emotions. So I might have missed out the fifth one, that is physical and spiritual development, which is also very important in times of, which have highlighted the need in times of COVID. So after talking about student success, I'd like to go on to the next thing, is preventing dropouts. So when we are talking about dropouts, it's basically that this dropout numbers are those numbers that have been wiped out of the school system after they have got enrolled. Nepal has made tremendous efforts or tremendous progress in terms of its enrollment, but then the figures for dropouts seems to be very alarming. So I've just took out some facts about dropouts. So majority of the children in Nepal attend government schools, not private schools. So most of these problems happen in private school, government schools. So if you look at the fact, 70% of the children drop out of school before taking SE examination. So that's like out of 100 students, only 30 get to finish their class 10 examination. So which is a very alarming situation. So only 14.5% of secondary graduates get enrolled in higher education. So right after they pass 12, only 14.5% get to enroll into bachelor's degree. So, and due to COVID, almost 86% of the children from low human development countries are not receiving education because of the access to technology, as we have already discussed in previous presentations. So what are the factors and what are the measures that we can apply in order to prevent this dropout rates? The first important factor that is making this dropout severe is poverty in underdeveloped countries like ours. So since the opportunity cost of sending children to school is very high in areas where there are marginalized communities who do not have proper income, so that's why they would prefer sending the children to work rather than going to schools. So immediate financial stimulus packages to marginal communities must be ensured by government, and especially in times of COVID, it's much more needed. So the second is infrastructure, and when we talk about the access to education or improvement in education, you cannot look education from an isolation point of view. You need to link education and infrastructure simultaneously. For example, if you have to look at the data from Rural Access Index that is published by World Bank, Nepal has the lowest road densities in the world. So it has around 47.88 kilometer per 100 square kilometer, so which is very less, and which means that half of the rural population is deprived of road access. So they do not have, they take a lot of time traveling, coming back and forth from school to home. So that's why they have to skip their school and they have to drop out from the school system. So third is child marriage. So according to this research by Sekin and Hodgkin, what they have found out is that married girls in Nepal are 10 times more likely to drop out from the unmarried peers. So it means that we have not been able to create awareness programs directed towards those marginalized communities. So we need to ensure that we have such programs carried out in those areas. So the fourth most important thing is the quality of education. So it's very important that we improve our quality of education. And one way we can do this is by building and fostering strong community relationship. And I'll just come to that later on as well. So COVID-19 access to technology, which have been talked about in the yesterday's presentation as well as to this presentation. So I visited this school in Tanau in one of my field visits that we take every semester to our students. So this is Maya Universe Academy that is based in this rural area in Tanau. So if you look at this picture, there are 3 pictures that I've posted. The left one side are the students. One is the one picking the lemon is the student of that school. The other is an international volunteer from Germany. And there are a lot of volunteers from international as well as from various parts of Nepal who work as teachers there. And if you will be surprised to see that the middle one, that the guy there is the principal of the school, right? Is the principal who has been working on the farm. So this third one is we see a bracelet, right? So what the model of the school is a social enterprise model that they have been practicing. All the students that attend the schools do not pay fees. What they do is the parents, the guardians of the students come and work at school, in fields and farms, right? So and also they go for various funding projects as well. So the bracelets that you see is made by the women of parents of the students. So you'll be surprised to know that this bracelet was sold to this famous Korean band called what was the famous Korean band? That was musical band. It's a musical band. That's TBS, I guess. BTS. So it was bought by BTS as a part of helping the school. So it's a very social enterprise model school, and it fosters community relationship, preservation of environment, and which can be a very good initiative, how to, when we talk about access to education to rural areas in Nepal. So such initiatives need to be encouraged by government, as well as some of this models can be applied to private school as well. So the third is making online education interesting. Well, it's one of the most challenging thing that we are facing right now. So effective online education. So how do we make? There are some points that I've jotted down. So the first thing is flexibility. So if you look at the research, what I found out is that the first and foremost factor why the students choose online education is that because the courses are flexible, right? Now because it's a necessity, it's not an option while we are studying online. So flexibility has to be one of the main factor for our teaching methodology. Flexibility in terms of courses, flexibility in terms of the assignments that we make, flexibility in terms of evaluations that we do, right? The second is clear communication. So it's very, very important, because as faculty, as teachers, we always are communicating. 90% of the time we are communicating with the students. So clear communication is very, very important factor. And what the research has said is that giving timely feedback on assignments, responding to the queries that the students have, and informing. And one of the most important things is informing students about their presence, right? So I have this. Sometimes what happens is sometimes it happens that the faculty do not get on time and they don't inform, and at that time students are really dissatisfied with the way they're being communicated. So timely feedbacks on assignments, individual feedbacks are very, very important to make online education effective and interesting. And empathy is about recognizing that student-centered learning is key in online education. So we have to be considerate towards the feelings of students. So the fifth is use of technology. I've not say much on this because much have been talked about this topic in the earlier presentation as well as today's presentation. So various features online enhances the process of learning. Even the simple tools that is available in various Zoom and Google Meet can actually enhance the education process. The fifth is microlearning. So microlearning basically is breaking large topics down into smaller constituent parts. So if you have large topics that we need to cover, so we can break it down into capsules and give it to the students so that they can take that learnings easily. So the last and most interesting thing is having fun, right? So it's always good to share your passion among your students, or students sharing a passion in the class. So it gives us this bridge to actually communicate with the students and foster our relationship as well. So dare to try different things and share them with the students. So lastly, I'd like to leave this presentation with a quote by Nelson Mandela, which says that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So let's keep learning, let's keep inspiring, and let's keep changing lives of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galijang Sampang, Program Coordinator of Development Finance, National College, for your interesting and thought-provoking presentation. The cases that you have shared can be replicated elsewhere as well. So there are many countries, including Nepal and beyond. We can, implement and replicate this kind of idea in order to make more benefits in the field of education. Thank you so much for your well-researched presentation. Now we have a presentation by Ms. Sindhu Tulahadar, and she represents Shivapuri High School, Kathmandu. And the topic of her presentation is improving gender balance and ensuring participation of marginalized section of society in online education. So Sindhu madam, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, I'm ready. And namaste and very good morning to everyone. And it's my immense pleasure to be the part of this seminar. And first, allow me to share my slides here.
You can share your slides. It has been enabled. Thank you.
Okay. But what happened then? It's not working.
So have you been getting this share screen option?
Then what is there?
No, can you see the share screen option at the bottom of your screen? There must be a green icon where you can press and get this share screen option.
Yeah. I just did it, share screen, but
Okay.
here comes that white word, basic, advanced file.
Okay.
These are here.
Madam, just do what I say.
Yes.
So what you do is first of all,
Microsoft SharePoint.
Yes, exactly.
What's happened?
So let's do one thing. First of all, you open your PowerPoint. First of all, you open your PowerPoint in your computer.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Now you go to the Zoom.
Wait.
You go to the Zoom,
Yeah.
and then you press this share screen option.
Yeah, okay. It is a little bit different.
So
Okay,
now you go to
I'm
the
just
share screen option.
doing. Wait. And first I have to open that presentation.
Yes.
Yes, I'm doing. And then again, I have to go to Zoom. Yes.
Yes. Now you have to go to the Zoom. Then you go for the sharing option.
Share screen.
Yes. So could you see your PowerPoint slide in the share screen option?
Mm,
Could you see your PowerPoint slide?
what happened then?
म्याडमले उ गर्नु भएन पहिला त्यो के अरे त्यो हाम्रो PowerPoint को स्लाइड्स पहिला कम्प्युटरमा खोल्नुस् न पहिला.
Yes, I have minimized it.
PowerPoint को slide?
Yeah.
No, do not minimize. Let it be open. Then you go to the Zoom.
Yeah, I have opened already.
Okay, now you go to the Zoom, and there you will see share screen option. Then you will go to the share screen option.
What happened then?
PowerPoint चाहिने कि मैडम जिससे बोले हुन्छ कि
Share screen and then Microsoft SharePoint is there. This is a little bit different one.
Madam,
Sir, maybe we have the slides already. No, screen share.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Shreya. So I also have her slide. So let me share the screen.
But actually, that is a little bit different from that one. The mine is.
That won't be a big issue, I guess. That won't be a big issue. So you can
then
start the presentation based on what
shall I do without the slide then?
Okay.
Okay. And what happened then? I just didn't get the idea, but this is a little bit different one, which I have been doing in taking the classes there. Yeah.
Madam,
okay.
I shared.
And this is the.
I shared your slide on your behalf.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, then I have made some other changes there as well. Okay. Anyway, and this is that unfortunately I could not show that and yes, today on this point then, that is the heading that improving gender balance and ensuring participation of the marginalized section of society in online education. And when we talk about in this, especially in these topics, then yes, gender balance and the marginalized section, these issues have always been the very much that appealing issue for us for the discussion. And especially when when we talk about the gender balance, and at the same time, I would love to mention the Human Development Report, that is the 2019. And according to this report, then according to this report, then Nepal ranks the 115 15 there out of the 162 countries that in the gender inequality. And however, Nepal has made some type of the progressive, gradual progress in the literacy, and next is that in the life expectancy, there is still a long way to go in order to attain the gender equality, and then to set a gender balance in social, economic, and then educational sector. And yes, then another slide there, then next is, okay, anyway, yes, the female and the females in our society, because our society is the patriarchal society, and in this society, then females have always been less prioritized. And the disparity and then discrimination, such type of the discrimination and the disparity is that harshly existed mostly in the underdeveloped country like Nepal rather than the developed countries. And this is the very much important, and this is also the fact that, okay. And next is that, yes, when we just look to the our constitution of Nepal, that is the 2015, and next is in the same way that our Education Act 2028, they also try to address the some such type of the particular points there. And Ujjwal sir, that the slide is not moving. Slide is not moving. Okay, anyway. And this Education Act, that is the 2028, it also encompasses the just the inclusive education facilitation, and this inclusive education that describe not only the non-discriminatory comprises, it also comprises to the yes, that is the student of having that different type of, that is the higher, that is the especially the low social economic, and then who have got the geographical disadvantage. Then these all the issues have been tried to encompass in that inclusive education as well. And in this way, from the government side, and then the government has formulated the different type of the policies and then procedure, and that significantly contribute to uplift that educational sector. And just in course of this type of the procedure, and one challenge is still there, that applying the government this type of the policies in the practice, and then bringing the significant result from it, that is the quite challenging in itself. Moreover, then this COVID-19 brought another challenging wave that last year and throughout the country. And next is that in this pandemic period, the educational sector that could not remain, that is untouched by this devastating effect of this pandemic, that is the COVID-19. And then at the same time, the Ministry of Education, Ujjwal sir, next slide, then this is the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology that appeal to the educational stakeholders to start that online classes through the alternative learning system, that is 2077. And under this alternative that learning system 2077, the Ministry of Education approved, that is the students learning facilitation guideline, that is 2077, and it was approved specially to facilitate the learning from that alternative education system, including the open and then distance education. And next is at the same time, just in this alternative that guidelines, these guidelines provided that one type of the categorization of the different type of the students there. Okay, and in this different type of the student, that we can have that 5 different type of the that students there. Ujjwal sir, this is the one slide that you just go back. on previous slide.
This one.
This is okay. Previous one, sir. There.
Okay.
Go back
This one?
2 slides. One more slides back. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And this okay. Not this is, sir. Okay. That is the guideline provided by this alternative learning system. And this learning system has done the one type of the categorization of the students. And this, according to this categorization, the 5 different type of the students there. Next slide. The students, okay, and then without slides also. Okay. And according to that categorization, one more next. According to that categorization, all kind of the that technology, one category, yes, this is the one category is the students with the deprived of all kind of the technology, and second is the having the access of the television, and next one is the yes, having the computer. They possess the computer, but they do not have any connectivity. And next is also that one category was there, that is the having the access of the internet. And then next is that all kind of the information, that information technology was also there. The academic calendar was totally disrupted, and it was an urgency to plan and then design the equal learning modality for all the students starting from 1 to 12, and then just being the one community school. And it was the great challenge for us to take the immediate step and then running the classes through that online. It was the great challenge for us. And at the same time, right now, I would love to share how we managed to carry our that teaching process that is here. First, we collected the students. Sir, another slide. We collected the students' contact number. Yes, this is contact number. And after having all the contact number, then all the class teacher, then they try to contact to every student individually, and through the phone, then we inquire what is their situation, and then whether they were in the position to let their children join the online classes or not. And that type of the thing we just did. And when we contacted the individual student through that telephone, and it created the one type of the affectionating relation between the teacher and the student, and not only that, with the family and the school there. And that was we found that was really the very remarkable one. And right now I would love to share the one very painful bitter experience there. In course of that just having the contact to the parents, then one of the parents, the students studying in our class 3, and his parents, that father was the kidney patient, and then they gave one very miserable reply there. We are having the very much painful situation. Our economic status is also not very much good one. Then in such situation, how can afford the money for the mobile? And this for that school, but this stands as the one type of the challenge for the whole country and the educational sector. And next is then after that, yes, we also not only for the student, the problem was there for the teacher also. The teacher were also not very much that friendly with the ICT and the technology. We managed that training for the teachers as well. And next is at the same time, yes, we just that conducted the online exam as well, and in the online classes. Okay, and this was there. And next is that the participation, that is the online when we started the online classes, then the student was sir, that it was that previous slide, but anyway, just from the class 1 to class 12, then you can see that, but here I have not mentioned that the data of the class 12, but we can see that the gradually the participation, that percentage, it is increasing from 1 to that grade 12, that is there. And next is this is also the one of the matter that yes, student participation percentage was not very much satisfactory, and this participation led us the loss of the question. It made us think very much deeply on it, and that's why then we started to have the some type of the analysis on the this students participation. And next slide, sir. Then when we analyze that students participation, we just derive the some type of the yes, the noticeable matter where their low economic status and limited availability of the technical infrastructure, and next is the digital illiteracy. Then these were the major obstacles that seemingly affected the online classes. And next is regarding to the domestic surveys, then we found that the students were mostly motivated and then supported by their guardians if the guardians were the very much educated one. And next is also some of the students, then their parents, then they moved to out of the Kathmandu Valley because then during the pandemic, then they lost their job, they became the jobless, and because of that also then very few students that participated in the online class. And another matter is yes, regarding to the online class, then we realize one thing, that the student and the parents, they did not seem to be very much serious about the that online education. They have got the one type of the question, and then they got the one type of they have got the misconception that yes, online classes are not the very much effective one, and whenever the school reopen, then we will send the student, we will say that children to the school. Then that type of the reaction we just got. And another one prominent matter here is the inappropriate environment in the school, that the environment that student, they do not have that type of the environment there. Most sometimes then our teacher also made the one type of the comment that yes, while taking the class also, the class were very much disturbed because they had to take the class being confined in the one single room there. And that was one of the big challenge for them, and then big challenge for the school as well. And
Sindhu
yes,
madam,
this
Sindhu madam,
yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry to interrupt.
yes.
We are running out of time. We are very little time
Okay,
left.
okay,
Please,
okay.
please,
I'll
try to
just
focus.
then okay. And then most importantly, in this part of analysis, that one thing we noticed that the yes, student who did not join the class, then they were mostly, that is the Dalit, Madhesi, and then indigenous group. Then they are socially marginalized group. Okay, there had been an attempt to have a yes, a percentage that persistency in the classroom teaching through the television, radio, and then virtual classes. In spite of all this substantial effort, the marginalized group were found to have been devoid of such attaining the education during the COVID-19. And then incorporating then such group in the single stream, and then resume the educational process, that was the big challenge for the every educational sector and the institution. And next is on the top of that, the completion of the that academic year within the designated time. It was the mitigate these all the challenges. We had to take the some that step immediately, and we just yes, for the student, we as the that remedial materials, that maintaining the physical distance, and they gave the assignment to the student there, and they were motivated by the teacher who are the that local teachers there. They also did that type of the work, and then very quick, frequently we just contact to the student whether they have got the any type of the problem during the their study. We just did that. Okay, and without any further delay, I would like to conclude my matter here. Okay, and then just the students' learning should not be only confined to the only the that is the yes, only to the that is the e-learning, not only to the mobile laptop and the smartphone, their practical knowledge and their understanding should be that included or parts there, and they should be evaluated on the basis of what they have learned, not what they have been taught. That is also one of the important things. And next is that, yes, at the just very finally, I would like to say that the online class can be the one of the option, and then it can be regarded as the one type of the complementary, not rather than an alternative to the physical classes. And yes, hence online classes cannot be the ultimate solution of the physical class. Then already our Manish Pokhrel sir had also mentioned the same thing. Yes, then if such type of the classes tend to keep that marginalized group aside, so it also helps to create a wide gap between the rich and the poor, and then the higher and the lower classes, or the privileged and the underprivileged classes there. Okay, with these notes, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Sindhu Tuladhar. And Ms. Sindhu Tuladhar represents Shivapuri High School, which is located at the heart of Kathmandu city, but this is a government school. And Sindhu Madam is the only person representing government school in this event. So thank you, Sindhu Madam, for your very nice presentation. There were some and very minor technical glitches, but I think we overcame it. And also thank you so much for giving such a nice presentation, and also sharing the data regarding what is the scenario in the government school and what is the problem occurring with the small kids, those are studying in government school. Thank you so much. Now, without further delay, let's jump into the next session. But before going to that, I would like to request our chair, Chetna Thapa Madam, to highlight and also thank the presenter. Madam, Chetna Madam, we are really running out of time. That's why let's not take more than 1 minute. All you can do is acknowledge all the presenters and say a few words within 1 minute. And after that, we will be jumping into the next session. Please, Chetna Madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Ujjwal sir, and it's my immense pleasure to be here, being a part of Accelerating Progress and Equality in Education seminar. All the three present, I'm not taking much more time. All the three presenters, like from Mr. Ujjwal Upadhyay, online classes amid COVID-19 pandemic challenges and opportunities. Should I summarize it? I think I was supposed to summarize it, but you are not giving me time. What should I do? Just tell me.
You just
okay, I'll just make it very fast. I'll just make it fast. Okay.
Actually, we get a lot of time to discuss about whatever presented right now in our next session. So in that session also, you can, summarize and also acknowledge all the participants. But right now, you should just sum it up. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Actually, thank you very much. And it was all the three presentations were very lively, and like from Ujjwal sir's, this, even though this is in this crisis, new practices and its pros and cons and challenges due to limited digital literacy, these all came up, and how National College is being coping with such things, and the feedbacks that has been given by the students and the teachers, how they are how they have been using it for making coping strategies. That was very wonderful. And the most important part was no dropouts, like in your final slides, there was no dropouts of the students. That was the very positive part from National College. And then comes from Mr. Sampang's presentation. It was ensuring student success, preventing student dropouts, and making online education most interesting. These three link pins have been very much lively discussed with an example of that wonderful school, which was in Tano, I guess. And then last was it was really interesting, even though I wanted to make more points over there. Let's not take more time. I'm jumping into Sindhu ma'am's presentation. This has to be a little bit, since he was representing government school, it is a community school, and this community school, even it's in the heart of the city, and in a capital, still they are having such kind of problem, then we can think about other part of the nation. And here I would like to focus on how she was talking about learning from alternative systems to 2077, where students learning guidelines issued by the government, whether people are well known about this or not, and how they are being implementing. And in her presentation, the students' participation was then participation of marginalized people was challenged. How the causes those able to participate in the online classes. This was very much challenging one. Okay, regarding that, instead of these all things, because we have to go align with this crisis situation. Still, we need to be a seeker, like Dean Sir said, seeker rather than believer, and acceleration through the technology, and making this digital natives and digital ecosystem, how we are going to make it, and how these things can impact the education system itself. Digital is integrating digital in digital education system. It is not only hurdles, but it is a challenge turning into opportunities also to exercise different mode of education system, with different developing different criteria, curriculums, and activities for the students, so that we can have, even in a normal situation, we can really use this distance learning mode in different area too. So these are the things that I would love to much more. I would love to be there, and most of the things that I would like to conclude is thank you very much for inviting me for the chair, even though we don't have time. Education should be there complementing, should be complementing, not the alternative one. It could happen, it was there. So addressing these things, including the government policy and its implementation, and the orders that we've been facing every day, because we don't know how long it is going to last. So we have to not strategies and mechanism to address such issues. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chitra Madam, for summarizing everything in such a small time. So we always believe that you have got that kind of efficiency, and which you showed today as well. So summarizing everything and also thanking everyone in such short span of time, and also realizing how important the time factor is for us right now. So thank you so much, Chitra Madam. And also thanks to all the presenter, including myself, and also to Galijang Sampang and Miss Sindhu Tulathar from Shivapuri School. Now, without further delay, let's move on to our next and final session of this entire seminar, which we all are very much looking forward to. And this is the KE Spaces. And without further delay, I just want to hand over this floor to Miss Ashiana Adhikari and Santosh Pandey. So Santosh and Ashiana, so get ready with everything. Now I'm handing over everything to you people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I would like to start. First of all, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Ujjwal sir, for giving us the floor. And thank you so much, Nisha sir, for giving us the opportunity to moderate the session. And finally, thank you so much, Christian and Megha, for coming up with this amazing idea of KE Spaces. A space where people can freely talk about their experiences, be it students or teachers, at least for today's event here, without any prejudice. And I hope that KE Spaces spreads further in accommodating dialogues of different stakeholders in the society. The sessions today and yesterday were so insightful, and also we had some technical difficulties as well, which shows that despite of everything, the show still runs, like what we are doing on even now, and then we are slowly adapting to it. So now I'm very excited to hear about all the experiences that people have had to go through during the pandemic, and yet still among the hardship, we are here today learning and trying to be a better version of ourselves, trying to better the technicalities that we don't know how to. But I just think that even when the pandemic ends, like, are we all ready to go in person? Or would we be okay just for a hybrid session? I think it stems from the experiences that we faced during the pandemic. So without any further ado, like Santosh, can you like share what were your experiences during the pandemic? How did you cope up with it so that we can open the floor to other participants with your experience?
Thank you so much, Asiana. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Santosh Pandey, a graduate of National College. By profession and interest, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm working with National College as a lecturer as well. I am giving classes on social entrepreneurship course. So before we begin, I think let's set few ground rules here so that our forum will be more engaging and insightful. So we encourage everyone to share your experiences on online educations, maybe challenges of virtual classes, and also the problems you faced and the measures or probable solutions that can be shared. To speak, please raise your hand so that we can unmute you and you can share your experiences in today's forum. And if you're not comfortable speaking, please drop your opinions or experiences or any questions in the chat section so that we can have the discussion in the issue. We'll try to hear as many as voices as possible today. And then let me share my own experience of teaching online. I used to take classes or give classes on different universities or colleges, but from this March and April, I started taking classes. And the first thing, I noticed was there are so many challenges and also opportunities or good aspects of virtual classes. So let me share a few challenges first. I remember asking, in the first class itself, in the virtual class, I remember that asking a question in the class, how can we make, online classes more interesting and engaging? And I heard nothing. I said, please share me some experience, best practices that you had in the last semester. I heard nothing. Then I asked, why don't you like online classes? I asked further, and then I started hearing so many challenges from student side. They were sharing that there are so many technical glitches and everyone in the classroom is not in the same pace. And the environment, the environment in their home, maybe in both for teachers and even for students, it's not the environment of classroom. There is so many distractions, construction going around, and noise. There are so many distractions. And that's the reason that students don't prefer, that was one of just the case study, but I found that students are not liking online classes and they prefer virtual classes. So, and the other kind of challenge that I started finding was attendance issue. We also had, similar discussion in previous presentation as well. But because a lot of people, we're having hard times, and even in our families, we are having COVID cases. And that's the reason that a lot of students are not being able to attend classes. So we are having very few, the attendees rate, I think it has reduced a lot. So these are few challenges. And talking about good aspects, I think flexibility, even Galis and Sampang sir touched upon it. I think flexibility is something that everyone is getting right now, both students and teachers, because to commute from and to schools or colleges in Nepal, it's very tough because the traffic jams, and it's going to take, just to go for 4 or 5 kilometers, it's going to take you half an hour just to reach your college and come back. So the time that's we spend in commuting to college, and that's being saved. So that's something I think everyone has now. We have something, extra time for something else. So that's something that I've experienced. Maybe now we expect, if you have any questions, any experiences, any ideas, or any concerns that you'd like to share here, please feel free and share. Asiana, do you have anyone ready to share right now?
Yeah, I just got a message from somebody named Sadiksha Subedi. Let's start from her. Like, can you please unmute your mic and then share your experiences so that we can further elaborate and talk about it?
Yes, thank you, Miss Ashiana. So, talking about my experience, at first it was a new energy, new experience learning virtually, and as even Santosh Kai said,
Sadiksha,
flexibility of
Sadiksha,
yes.
so we appreciate if you turn on your camera so that we can see with the person we are interacting to. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I think there's a problem. It's not
Okay, if you are having
opening.
problem, then it's okay.
You can continue. No problem.
You
Continue.
can continue.
Okay, so it was new energy, like we can study within our homes, right? And also, what I observed was people who were not comfortable asking question face to face. Many of my friends were so comfortable with online classes. They have started asking questions and learning, exploring, and coming up with new ideas. And that was the best part, seeing everyone questioning, seeing everyone being interactive, because that was not case in our physical classes, right? So that was a good part. But then when the days went by, its fourth, fifth day, it was kind of getting monotonous. We were like, we were feeling drained. We could not get whatever the teachers were saying. Even there were only 1 2 people interacting, and it kind of demotivated us when only we are talking, and there's no proper kind of learning, sharing of experiences, getting to know people. And like technical glitches, like weather was not supportive at all, we were having so many difficulties, and the pressure that we were getting was really brutal. That was really hard for us, like completing our assignments and coping up with whatever teacher was teaching, and then attendance part, because even if you were there for half time, but then there were so many things that we still could not cope up with. So I think it was mixture of both. But then now it's really getting out of control. It's really draining us. So that was all about my experience in short. Thank you so much for this space, everyone, and presentations were really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sadiksha, for sharing and also feeling comfortable about sharing the challenges and that problem that you faced during your classes. I think I'll start with one of the discussion that we had yesterday. We had a very interesting discussion in the clubhouse yesterday, and it was about future universities. I mean, how do you like to see the future universities in Nepal and even in the world? And I think we were touching upon a lot of topics, but one of the title that we're discussing was about uh, the gap that we have between industry and academics. And now we have a new batch of students coming up for jobs. We started online virtual classes and even taken tests in online and given exams in online. So I think what kind of, I mean, there are two. I see both the perspective here. I mean, students have digital skills now, a lot of students, but at the same time, maybe from the employer's perspective, they have doubts upon students' qualifications, abilities, and a lot of other doubts. So how do we address this problem? I want to ask this question to everyone, most preferably Ujjwal sir. Do you have any suggestions or anything? How can we address this gap between academics and industry? Because I think this is going to have new avenue now.
Santosh, so I couldn't get exactly what you said in your last line. Academics and what?
Industry, sir. Employment, because students, yeah.
True. Okay. So regarding this, I mean, slowly the idea and the concept and initiatives are also being undertaken. So slowly what is happening is many job providing institutions have been coming up with the offers and opportunities to the institution like ours. So in my case, because I'm associated with National College, and our college is not, I mean, the college which gives technical education, but we are more of like a social science related institution, basically development finance, development studies, and social sciences. So many international organizations and non-governmental organizations, including government offices as well, they have been approaching us in order to find a good resource persons, right? They have been seeking good resource person for the appropriate jobs that they have been offering, and they need good human resources, right? So by searching such opportunities, they have been coming to our institution. So I'm sure that such kind of idea and concept has also been have also been started in many of the engineering colleges, particularly those teach engineering and information technologies. So I guess like Kathmandu University and many other institutions, so they are also being approached by such job providing institution. And definitely industry and academic institution, this is quite important, because what National College has been doing for several past years is we have been in close touch with our faculty members who are also working in many international organizations, and also our graduates who either are involved in industry and new kind of innovative enterprises, and also engaged with non-government and governmental organizations. So we have been taking regular feedbacks from them and have been trying to verify whether the courses and syllabuses are demand oriented or not, whether the skills and the knowledge that we have been trying to inculcate to our students is demand driven or not. So based on their feedbacks, we have been trying to improve our syllabuses and our course curriculum in that manner. So that has been helping other people to find appropriate human resources in our institute. So that is being increased nowadays, because right now there are a lot of students in this forum who have got opportunities, who have gotten opportunities in many development organizations, but that happened because of our college, right? And that happened because of the good network with many institutions that our college has. So this has really been increased trend, because when I started my career in this educational institute around 14 to 15 years ago, the scenario wasn't like that. At that time, we used to dream that when we can start the idea of job placement, right? So job placement is materializing nowadays. So I think this should go on, and this is only possible when we start teaching courses and start, giving good knowledge to the students that are demand driven. Only this idea is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ujjwal sir. Like when we think about the online learning platform before the pandemics, it was always like, if it was before, then the degree won't be as precious as it would be of a in-person learning classes, right? So I would like to ask this question to Nishal sir that, for example, if a person graduates from a very reputed university, but that person is graduated fully online because that person could not go in person to attend the class. And there's this another person who attended the class in person. So there are two people of like same degree of reputed universities, but one has graduated online and the other not online. What difference would it make for you to select a person in your institute as an academic, and then that person could serve in your organization? Which one would you choose? Would you discriminate on the basis of online education and in-person education?
Well, before, if it was 2 years ago, then there definitely would be discrimination, because if there would be a certificate online from even a reputed university, and there's a secondary, an alternate candidate who would be having a certificate from the same university who has physically attended the classes, there would definitely be a difference. But since last year, even Harvard Kennedy School is doing online classes. All the major universities are doing online classes, so there would not be any difference. I think the job market in the future will not discriminate between a student who has studied physically and a student who has studied virtually. The job market of the future will have a level playing field. So therefore, the physical participation or physically attending the classes in a major university will not have much of a value, say in the next 3 years, 4 years post-pandemic, as far as the job market is concerned. So if you bring me a certificate master's degree from a reputed university like AIT, whether or not you have studied physically or virtually does not really matter. I think that's how the scenario is going to be in the job market of the future. Thank you.
Before we move, we can see a lot of hands being raised. Before we move to Janak, Anshuda, and Shriti, I think Galijong sir has something to say on the same issue that
Thank you, Santosh. So the previous question regarding your the bridging bridging of gap between the future universities that have studied online and then the industry. So I believe that the future job market would require digital skill would be a main important aspect for the recruitment. So with regards to National College, improving the digital skills has been the core of our part in the pandemic thing. So we organize different events digitally so that our students would be able to improve on the digital skills. So when they go to the future job market, the job market would be requiring these skills because they need to work, right? Regardless of pandemic or not, right? So these digital skills are very, very important for students in order to be competent in the workplace. So the next thing that we did at National College was we organized a virtual job fair as well. So where we invited around 20 to 30 corporate institutions, INGOs, research institutions, and whereby we also gave training to students regarding CV writing, interview skills, and then around 50% of students got the job through the virtual job fair. So I guess these digital skills are very, very important part in the future job market, which all the students need to improve upon, because this is going to be a very, very important skill that the employer would be looking for. So thank you, Santosh.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's move to Janak now. Janak, please.
Hello, thank you everyone. Thank you, Santosh Bhai. Thank you everyone for having us here. So respected teachers, dignitaries, and everyone, namaste. This is Janak. For those of you who do not already know me, let me tell you about myself. I'm a recent graduate of Development Studies from National College. So I finished Bachelor's in Development Studies in 2020. But I did not go far from Kathmandu University because from Kathmandu University School of Arts, that is Development Studies, I have shifted on to Kathmandu University School of Management. So I'm doing my master's there currently in Masters in Public Policy and Management. So I would say in a way, I completed my bachelor's degree fully online from National College. And then after I shifted to my master's classes in Kathmandu University School of Management also, we had hybrid classes in the beginning when things were, during the first wave and the second wave, when things were trying to seem to be a bit normal, then we were having hybrid classes. But then again, when the second wave hit in, we have again shifted to online classes. So today I would like to share a few experiences of my online learning. Of course, first of all, I would like to put this that online learning has definitely not been as easy or as likable as our traditional physical classes. Physical classes was not just about learning and teaching; it was much more than that, right? Because we used to meet with our friends, or even those moments where we go together and eat at the canteen. Those are also the things that students cherish the most. In fact, those are the things that we cherish the most, I think, whenever we think about our educational journey, right? So because of that, the online learning definitely has not been up to the mark, but we have to put this into perspective that online learning in today's time is not a choice but a compulsion, because due to the COVID-19, we are locked down in our own homes, and we do not have a choice. Of course, like I do not want to pinpoint any university's name, but then we could just stall the learning and teaching experience, and just halt all the courses or curriculum. But then that is not how it can go on, right? The world has to move on. So taking this on learning experiences to online is a very good thing, and I would like to really praise Kathmandu University for doing this exceptionally well. In the case of Nepal, it is certainly leading this online teaching and learning, this experience for the students here in Nepal, and it has been exemplary for all the other universities, and they should definitely learn from it. I would also like to thank National College in this platform again. We didn't really get to speak a lot during our graduation ceremony, so I would like to thank National College, for giving us a timely graduation, and we could shift on to now I'm already doing my, I'm almost on to the end of my first semester of master's. So this was all because I was part of a KU family and National College. So I would like to thank National College for this. And so talking about my online learning experience, I would like to put this from two perspectives. One is from my own perspective, that is from this perspective of a student, and from what I see from the teacher's perspective, from how I have perceived them. So from first, I'd like to put it from teacher's perspective. So before, when the first wave of the COVID hit on us, and at first when we tried to shift online, then there was this gap of technical know-how within the teachers, because someone might be good at economics or maths or Nepali, but then they may not be as well familiar with the technical know-how of using these different technologies like Zoom and Google Meet and all these platforms that we are using in our day-to-day basis to shift these teaching experiences online. So that there was this technical gap, but then with time and experience, with time and learning, trying and failing, and then with innovation and continuous feedbacks, the teachers, they coped up, and then it was, I think it was way better at the end of the semester. Like my 8th semester, it started totally online, and it was way better at the end than it was at the beginning. So I think it also depended on the willingness of the teacher to teachers to continually improve and the teaching and learning experience, even during my master's classes in today's time. So we are giving feedbacks continually, and that is what is helping the classes to improve, because like the students, the teachers are also facing difficulties how to cope up with the situation. So I think that should be taken into consideration from students' perspective. So now moving on to the students' perspective, I have seen that most of the students, we try to think that the online classes have not been as effective. Yes, it's true, but then again, I would like to give emphasis that this is not a choice that we are having. It's kind of more of like a compulsion. So it's better that we try to give constructive feedback to the teachers, the administrators of our educational institutions, as to how we can together improve the quality of education, the teaching learning experience, how we can go about it. So that is what has been happening. So even during our national college, the last semester, we used to have actually some sort of feedback mechanism as to how we can improve the classes. And in now when I'm in master's classes in Kusum, now also we are having this constant constructive feedback mechanism kind of thing, so that the classes can be made more interactive and more learning friendly. So that is what has been going on. So one thing I would like to pinpoint here, that can be a new food for thought for everyone, is that learning today for most of the students has been burdened. So most of the times the students, they just want to get rid of like either today's class or the whole semester or the whole bachelor's or master's. They are just studying. So this thing, I think this should be addressed, and this is not just for online classes. In fact, this has been more on the traditional physical classes as well. That is the reason why I said at the beginning of my speech that people value the friendship and the other than class time more than they value the class time during education. So during physical classes education. So I think this should also be addressed. But while we are all talking about this, this is for those who have access to online education, right?
Sorry to interrupt you. Let us just keep it short, because we have to give opportunity to the other people as well. So just wrap it up while you can.
Okay. And conclude. Okay. Yeah, I was just going to finish. So I'd like to say that we are talking about people, those who have access to online education, right? But then if we see from the bird's eye view, then there is this big gap between those who have access to education and those online education and those who do not have. So there are two things that I'd like to that we can sum up this whole equation into, that we are trying to improve the online teaching and learning experience for those who already have access to it, and we are trying to work on making quality education accessible to all the people, both in online and physical settings. And I really think that online education is the future, like Santosh Dai was also telling about this. And I think that this kind of platform is a stepping stone towards making that goal reach to everyone. So I would like to thank everyone, and yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jana, for sharing your experiences, even while you were doing your bachelor's mid-pandemic, and then how you started master's. Even for me, I could be called a COVID batch because I started my master's completely hybrid. Like, I guess so many of us here, I see faces that they are doing it. Like, they started it from hybrid, and then we were in a different country, and then there was another country where we had to go to, but then we had no option but to stay in our home countries. And we're like, how would we even feel? Because there were half people there were like like in the college, university, and having their time, like university experience, and we were in our bed like learning. So it was quite difficult for us during that point of time as well. So I think there is some similar, I see few familiar faces, and I see Aditi's hand raised up because I think she also started like her classes since like online, and then she went to study. So Aditi, like first on you, like share your experience on this.
Hi everybody, am I audible?
Yes.
I hope everybody is staying safe. I'm Aditi Pokhrel, and I'm a SAF UMCD SRC alumni at National College, and I recently completed my postgraduate in broadcast journalism from Asian College of Journalism, Chennai. Luckily, I graduated from National College before the pandemic, so but most part of my postgraduate has been online, which I must say was a very good experience compared to what I have heard from my friends, how their experience online was. But since we were talking about job spaces and like a job market for students who have graduated online, actually, I think even in academic spaces, as Ashiana and Nishchal sir talked, there is still like not much of a difference from like somebody who has graduated online and who has graduated from like in person from universities. But in professional fields, as in like I did a very professional course and I studied television online, which is very weird. I know I studied television online. So for us, I think, yeah, there has been, I mean, my job placements are going on right now, and there is some like questions in the part of the employer, like how will you be able to do it? If you have studied the whole thing online, how would you be able to work in television? But I think it's evolving. The part of the employers also, they are evolving in technology and they are evolving in thoughts also. So there are a few employers who are willing to take students who have graduated online, who have studied online. So things are changing definitely. And I think I'm not saying this for like an entire population in general. I belong to the very privileged group, I guess, like the very few of them, which for which like the college was able to provide like a state-of-the-art technology for virtual learning, while I come from a very small town. And as Amasai mentioned about this big digital divide between rural and urban spaces, it is very evident that most people in my neighborhood, they are not able to have like online classes either. While I was doing like the best I could, my college was providing me the best of technology, best of education, and I'm very thankful for it. But it is very evident, because of this, it is very evident that the equality that we are advocating for right now is very far. We are very we have a long way to go, and I hope we will be there someday. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Aditi. I like to continue. So maybe if we have other, other participants here, if you have experience studying in, abroad or in other foreign universities or colleges, maybe you can share your experiences so that institutions here in Nepal can learn from it. But now I'd like to pass this mic to Anishma Acharya. Can you please share your experience, maybe from teacher's perspective?
Thank you, Santosh. So, sharing my experience of teaching online classes, almost all the challenges and opportunities has already been discussed by the previous presenters. But to add on, there are a few things that I personally experienced. So the first thing was with the abundance of technology around us, like smartphones and other devices, one more problem I experienced was the distraction. So you are taking a class and suddenly there is a notification in your phone from your Viber or your WhatsApp or Facebook, and you get distracted easily. And this is the case not just for the students, but for the teachers as well. So, for students, there is no other option than being attentive, but for the teachers also, it's very difficult to maintain the interest of the class. It's very difficult it's a huge challenge for the teachers to be interesting every time and maintain that attention of the students in the class. So that is one huge challenge I personally faced. And another one is the other thing I like to talk about is the problem of real-time assessment of the students. So assessing students was an easy task when it came to the traditional classroom, because you could know the students personally and observe them closely. But in an online learning environment, it is definitely difficult to assess and evaluate the students in a real time because of the poor interaction, connections, and many other factors. So fair student assessment is, fair student assessment is very critical as it is reflected in their educational certificate at last. So yes, another challenge that I am facing is to ensure ensure a fair and effective evaluation system for students while in an online learning environment, because assignments, exams, and projects work are not only the contributors to the student assessment, rather the classroom behavior and participation, they are also a very fundamental factor. So I guess these two are the huge issues that they are arising, we are facing, and there's no one ultimate solution to these issues. So yeah, these two are the things I like to share from the tutor's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anushmadi. So we have been hearing what people in Nepal are facing, and in class what they are facing, even the teacher's perspective. But here is one case that so what happens? What happens if the teacher is in Nepal, but that teacher has to like teach somewhere outside of the country? So in that case, what is the situation? Here we have Virat Bhandari, who will share his experience about staying here in Nepal and then teaching abroad. Like, Virat, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ashiana. Let me introduce myself. My name is Virat Bhandari. I am a medical doctor from Nepal, and I'm going to start my residency in the United States. For the time being, I have been doing tutoring to medical students, mostly in the United States. And my experience is a little bit different because everyone here is talking about an entire classroom, and I have been engaged more on one-on-one tutoring or teaching a small group of students. So how was my experience different is the challenges have already been told by everyone. And to add on that, I would just like to say that tutoring has been simple as well as complex at the same time. I've been tutoring students for a medical license for United States, USMLE. It's a comprehensive exam, three parts, each 8 to 9 hours long. And for that, you need to spend a lot of time. So let me tell you how a typical class goes on. I send a Zoom link to my student. They open it, and we have Q banks, question bank for different multiple choice question answering. I ask them to share the screen. They do that, and in real time, I can assess where they are going wrong, what is their thinking process, how I can help them, and that's how the class goes. That's one part. Other part, that's my part, is there's a lot of audiovisual learning in medical science like this in other subjects as well. So I go to Google, I share my screen this time. I go to Google, I show them EKGs, I show them chest x-ray, that teach them what to look at, what to look for. And if they need a clarification of a concept, I just Google something like a whiteboard. There are a lot of websites that provide free whiteboards, and I can explain it. So what's happening is, usually what happens in a classroom with a duster, chalk, and a blackboard is now happening at the convenience of my my own home. And so that's the change that has been happening recently in the last few years. And not just that, even after the session ends, the student, they can post the question in WhatsApp, a WhatsApp group, and I can just answer them whenever I can. So that's the thing that's happening. It's real simple, but there's a lot of interplay of apps, of website, and really you have to engage yourself as well. And the demerit is, of course, the time difference. You are here in Nepal, and the student is in, say, USA, Canada. You wake up at 6 a.m. full of energy, and the student is at 8 p.m. the end of his day, tired and fatigued. And sometimes it's the opposite, of course. So that's what like basically it happens. And to just add to what has been going, the discussion that's been going on, the future of education pertaining to virtual classes is, since everything is getting decentralized, cryptocurrency banking system is getting decentralized, one education system, a classroom that has one teacher and 30 students. Instead of that, you can of course cut cost on buildings and furnitures, office supplies, all of that, and employ more teachers, divide a classroom of 20 into 4 or 776, and a better teacher to student ratio as well. So of course that pertains to higher education, not primary education, because let the kids stay as good. You cannot change football from online platform. So that's my input.
Thank you so much, Viratji. I think that's a very nice perspective, I think, because you're teaching beyond boundaries. We can also see a few experts and other teachers or lecturers having sessions here in Nepal from Zoom or Google Classrooms and a lot of other such tools. And I've been getting right now more than 115 people are participating in this forum via Zoom and Facebook Live. And I've been getting so many questions in chat box as well. So I'd like to take one question first. It's for Ujjwal sir. Do you think because of the online classes, students are compromising with learning opportunity they could get through physical classes? So that's the question for you.
Okay, thank you, Santosh, and also thanks to whoever asked this question. This seems pretty relevant and pertinent. Well, if you ask me if students are compromising, my answer is no, because online classes, in my opinion, has been providing all opportunities that they were getting before. In fact, this has been providing more opportunities than they were getting before, right? Because nowadays hardly any students go through the physical books nowadays, because most of the course curriculum related books are available online, and many institutions have been accessing online digital library both at national and international levels, and enabling their students to get access to those libraries. And personally, if you ask me, honestly, I must tell you that in past 15 months, I have gone through digital books much more than physical books. It was my obligation. And I have found searching digital books and the digital library is much more efficient than going to the physical library and accessing to the books. So this is what I have learned in past 15 months. And I'm sure all my dear students have also experienced the same, and those who are not my students and are involved in academic field as well. And there is another incident that for those students who are really keen to study, those who enrolled into the program that they are seriously interested to study those matters, online classes are even better, because the students have been sharing their experiences regarding online classes. They do not get distracted in the classroom at all, because whenever there are 50 to 60 students in the one classroom and one student is quite keen to learn whatever professor is speaking, the classroom distraction happens, right? Sometimes there is an electricity problem, sometimes there is technical malfunctions. Technical malfunctions also happen in the case of online classes as well, but the frequency and the chances are quite low. And students, by turning their camera and their mic off, can really concentrate to what the resource person or professor or teacher is teaching, right? They can really concentrate on whatever is being taught by the teacher without any kind of distraction. So these are some of the benefits. And also teachers have also upgraded themselves because of the online learning system, because previously they used to give assignments broadly, just a vague kind of assignments used to be given by the teachers, because I'm saying on on the basis of my experience of, looking after like 55 to 56 faculty members. Now the quality of questions has also become quite good. Whenever a teacher has to give question to the online test, and the question has to be open book test type, right? Because in online test, you cannot give the question to the students which can be easily copied from the Google, easily copied from any kind of resources. So teacher also has to do a lot of brainstorming in designing the question, developing the question, so that the students must have good concept about that question for which he is writing or she is writing an answer to. That's why it also enables students to have good concept and good understanding about that subject matter, because ultimately he or she will have to suffer in the examination, right? So that was not the case before pandemic. That's why, in my opinion, online education has been giving much more than the physical classes, in fact, except for the field visit, which I also shared during my presentation. Because for many subjects, like particularly the subject like environment, forestry, social science related, development studies related, the field study really becomes very important, because we also need to know how development, international government organization and NGOs actually work and capitalize various kind of developmental ideas or policies into practice. In order to understand those things, we take our students to the various parts of the fields, right, across the country. So we have been compromising with that part of learning, but rest of the things, if you ask me, I think students have been getting lots of benefits because of the online question. And I don't think students are compromising with the quality that they are supposed to get. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ujjwal sir. Even in my experience, I feel that taking online classes has made me to learn more and go through like more papers. And then because we have to write a lot of essays and term papers, because instead of giving the online like written exams, since we have to submit it through that perspective, so the learning has become more. So being so during bachelor's and master's, the study would be a little different, because postgraduate would be a little more intense and people would be more serious than people who are undergrad. So even for me, I believe that online learning has actually compelled me to study more than I used to study when I was doing my undergrad. So having said that, I see Anshuda's hand raised through like from the beginning. I want you to please speak whatever you want to share, your experience or your questions that you have.
Thank you so much. I'm very good morning to everyone. I'm Anshuda. I'm actually here to share my experiences. I'm currently studying in first year Bachelor in Developmental Studies. And my undergrad experiences started from online. We weren't online. This module was online learning, and online classes was quite new for us because we weren't accustomed and we weren't acquainted with this module, and we weren't acquainted with so many subjects, faculties, and teachers. It took us some time to adjust with the module, and it took us some time to actually get into the subject and to actually understand. And we were a little reserved to even share our queries and to share our problems with the teachers, because we weren't acquainted with them. And then there were some we most of us are privileged enough to be equipped with all the technologies and materials we need for our educations, but there were some connection issues that really disturbed the flow of classes, and it was sometimes it was really making it difficult for us to understand. And because we were very new to this module, the classes and the contents were very overwhelming, and because we are not acquainted with the subject, it was getting very overwhelming. And that way, at the beginning, it was a little efficient for us. But then we got our physical classes after, I think, 2 months of the semester, and for almost like 3 weeks. That really helped us. That gave us some time to familiarize with the subjects, to familiarize with the faculties, and to familiarize with our friends. And now that we are back in online classes, I think comparatively this time has been very easier and very efficient compared to the first time, because now we're already familiarized with the module and familiarized with the subjects and teachers. So now if you have any queries, or if you have any problems, even the personal ones, we are very it's very easier and to share it to our faculties, to discuss it with our faculties. The problems I think I and many of us students faced was
given the situation, it's a global pandemic is going on, and the time around is not good. So many of us faced mental health issues, and even many of, like, I personally, me and my entire family caught COVID. Recently we caught COVID, and luckily our classes was already switched to online. So I did not have to miss my classes, even though I could not attend my classes all the time, but I was provided with the recordings afterwards. So that way I was not feeling guilty about missing my classes. Because I had access to recordings, I could catch up with my courses very easily. Similarly, if we had some personal issues going on, then we could easily share to our faculties, because since we were already acquainted with them, and we could easily get in touch with them, and we could share it with them. And our faculties were really considerate, and they were really understanding. They understood that we had some problems, so they were very flexible with the assignment deadlines, and even if the need be, we were excused from classes itself, and we were provided with recordings afterwards, of course. So that way, I think, and again, one more benefit of the online class was, for a person like me, I tend to have social anxiety. So even in group, even in front of people, I can't really talk or give my opinions or ask questions. But I think online has given me that platform. In the physical class, I almost had a full-fledged panic attack when I had to give my presentation. But I think online has really eased that part for me. And now I can easily ask questions to teachers, and I can speak. Basically, I can speak. So I think this is a good opportunity for someone like me. And yes, like I said, I mean, if I have to choose between physical and online classes, I would still choose physical classes, because I think it is more effective. But I think we're making progress, and we're getting acquainted to this module. So I could get accustomed to hybrid style of learning of online classes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anshuda. Now I'd like to pass this mic to Shriti. Shriti, please share your experiences. Please unmute yourself and share your experiences.
So hello and namaste everyone. My name is Shriti Kesi, and I'm currently studying Bachelor's in Development Studies in National College first semester. As previous speakers already mentioned about their experiences, I would like to talk about my experiences on online learning. So at the very beginning, it was very hard to cope up with the technical difficulties we face every day residing in the developing country like Nepal. We had the connectivity issues to the lack of technical skills. It was a major challenge to even focus or concentrate and pay attention in the class throughout the lecture, because there were so many factors of distraction. So with that, we all know that there's a vast difference between virtual classes and presenting yourself physically in the classroom. As yesterday's speaker, Apiksha ma'am mentioned, online students lack motivation for the virtual classes, which is sadly very true. And it is kind of a monotonous, and I feel that it's a one way. It's my personal opinion. So, but when presenting yourself in the classroom, it actually feels like we're living in the moment, and the discussions during our ecology sessions or everything, we feel like we students are actually experiencing it. So having said that, in one hand, there are so many cons of virtual classes, but on the other hand, as Aditi mentioned, I feel that I'm privileged enough because of my college administration and Kathmandu University Board, which has been able to conduct online classes and examinations very well. There are my friends and people in Nepal who are not able to complete their graduation, complete even a single semester, or continue their education because of this pandemic and the lack of attention from their respective college administration. So I, and along with my many friends right here, have an access to an education system which not only promotes e-learning, but also conducts seminars like these to help us learn beside the horizons of our textbook. So yes, to sum up, online classes may not be my preference, but at least the pandemic has not stopped or has no control over my life, my academic life, my education, and my learning activities. And I would like to give this credit to National College and its administration. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shriti, for sharing your experience. Yes, we are so privileged to be able to learn even when there is this big pandemic going on, and in every house there is COVID cases, and we are getting mentally frustrated in one way or another. Thank you so much for sharing. And now I would like to call Neshma to share her perspective on this pandemic and how she dealt with it by studying half in one country and studying the other half in another country. Over to you, Neshma.
Hello everyone, namaste and good morning still there. So I am Neshma Tuladar. I am a very recent graduate. I guess we are the 2015 to 2019 batch. So we are the 2019 batch, very lucky to have graduated just before the pandemic hit. And my kind of experience has been full of twists and turns, because I and Ashiana, I guess, we started with virtual learning first, very much new, never done in the life. First time we were forced to sit down in front of a laptop, just we had to deal with it. And it was actually very difficult to comprehend, because we had never experienced this kind of learning or environment where you are inside your house, confined in a room, and everything is so familiar with you but still not familiar with you, because in the box you see completely different environment. And by the way, now currently I am doing my master's graduation, I'm doing my graduate degree in disaster preparedness, mitigation and management, which is likely very much important when starting with COVID's context as well. So we were I was studying about COVID also on side by side with everything happening. And my experience started with virtual learning first. Then luckily we had the opportunity to come to Pathumthani, Bangkok, Thailand, and continue our degree in person, which became a completely different environment here, because we had switch from hybrid to back to in person, and frequently we would again shift to virtual classes. So talking about our experience, if we see, as most of them have experienced and shared already, that it's very much different when it comes to online versus in-class experience. It's very, very much different when, for us, especially when we're completely shifting to a new country with completely new perspective, new people, not the same environment of what used to be back home, but completely different experience, and always constantly tapping what's happening here, what's happening back home. So the kind of environment here we have is very much made it very much easier to cope with it. I'm sure Ashiana will also agree, Aditi will also agree, as she mentioned, how it was made so much easy by the institution for us to cope with it. However, I think when it comes to context of Nepal, because few months we had we were back home studying. So this, I think, opened an attribution of opportunity for digitized learning, which was as the speakers mentioned, which was not much considered in case of Nepal, but now it's the highlight and the focus that needs to be made of how digitized learning will be gaining that appreciation in the job market or not for students like us from the social sciences background, from gender, from disaster, where our field-based learning is the priority rather than secondary learning or the secondary source of data. So talking about that, how this pandemic has also made us realize the core values of higher education, which was mostly focused on whether we would get job or not, whether this degree is going to help me earn a better income or not, whether I'll be having that kind of networking or not, or bond or not. But it has highly showed how the social and cultural values were highly missed, which were there, but we did not much consider it because we were always in person, having those bonds. We could meet people, we could talk to people, we could ask our faculties whenever, ask our professors whenever, easily. But now when we don't have that opportunity and we know where our limitations are there, so we understand how those social cultural bonds, networking, those values play much higher role, as even Janak mentioned. We always see that as a missing link now because we are online. And which I also felt during my virtual classes, I could not see what was the environment here in AIT when I was back home. I could not meet my friends who were from Myanmar, who were from Philippines, who were from Fiji. So like the kind of thing I was missing when I came here, the environment was completely different because I could meet them in person after my quarantine, after going through self-isolation and everything. So this made us like realize that the kind of education system now we have to adapt is very much different from what it used to be there. And now I think we'll be more accustomed to, accompanied with the kind of changes. And I think the job market, as rightfully like Ujjwal sir mentioned, one of our other faculties also mentioned, that we will be, I think we will adapt to it, because this is, I think, vulnerabilities as such not only like decrease the opportunities, but are creating newer opportunities and making us think how we should cope up with the situation and build resilience. Because all we have like think about in disaster is how do we build back better, how do we become more resilient, how do we reduce the vulnerability, and how do we manage risk, which I think we've been like from this like discussion we've been hearing, we've been doing, and I think we will, and this learning process will continue even after the pandemic finishes, because we've seen SARS, we've seen MERS. I know it's just like vanished away, and hopefully COVID vanishes in the same way. And we might not know how, when, but hopefully it vanishes in the same way. But I think this will be an important contribution in like kind of changing the dynamics of education system in Nepal, how we perceive the kind of job placements, market, or opportunity post higher education. And I think we'll adapt accordingly, because now it's giving us more ideas of research opportunities, of where we can contribute, how we can contribute, though it's secondary, but we can see tremendously how the kind of like writings, kind of like research opportunities have been coming up. So I think that's it, because now I think more than like lagging behind, despite the situation, I think all we've learned is how to move forward, how to become more resilient, like accepting whatever situation we are in. So I think this platform itself created an opportunity for us to bond, for us to have that network of people. And I think the National College has always been that platform for like all the students here, for all the faculties here. So I'd like to thank everyone for patiently listening to me, and for giving us this opportunity to come and share our like small experience. And I hope to see more such events, because now I think post National College journey, we even see the importance of such kind of talk shows, such kind of events where we are actually getting more insights, more valuable insights, expanding our horizon, as one of our like fellow speakers said, plays such an important role to like kind of revise and kind of reinvent of what we already know. So I think that importance we've actually seen, I think, from my bachelor's journey there in National College to here coming in AIT and joining as a master's student. So I think hopefully wishing everyone like a safe stay, and I hopefully to meet you all in person as well. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neshma. Thank you so much for this so much of optimism that you have given us. And I hope that everything can go back to normal, and then we can see each other in person. And I see a few hands raised. I would like to, but then I would like to divert this perspective that there are so many students that we're talking about challenges. Like, what do you think, like, how can teachers, are there any perspective for teachers, maybe Ujjwal or maybe Galizans or anybody who likes to address the issues that the students talked, and how can teachers fill the gap of addressing these issues?
Well, I think Sampang sir would be appropriate to answer to this question. If not, then someone else would be interested, then I would love to join. If Sampang sir is not here, maybe principal sir, we can request our principal Madhav Nepani sir to address this question if Sampang sir is not listening.
So Ashiana, could you like repeat the question?
I just wanted to ask that there are so many challenges that students are saying that this happened, right? So what is the role of teachers, instead of there is what administration is doing, there is what college, university, government, there are a lot of stakeholders that are doing their part, but what can teachers on their own do with the students, because they are the ones who are responsible to keep the classes interactive and as good as possible. So what do you think is the role of teachers here that they can address these challenges?
Thank you very much for your very valuable question. Of course, this is the concept that we talk about every week. So every week in the staff meetings, we carry staff meetings. We evaluate the classes, the attendance and the performance, progress, assignments. And in between, like the semesters, we have 2 or 3 faculty meetings. So in the faculty meetings, whatever we get the feedback from the students, these feedbacks are given to the proper faculty and how they should address that feedback. How should they improve their teaching? So that type of feedback is given to all the faculty. So continuously, we interact with the faculty and we give like inputs. This way you can increase the class interactions. This way you can improve the questions. This way you can evaluate and you can give the feedback. So this way you can make the class more attentive. This way you have to like give the things so that students will enjoy your learning. These are the things we continuously give the feedback to the faculty. And this is a continuous process, and this is not limited in the online mode only. So it was used to do so in the like physical classes also, but so in the online mode of learnings, we are carrying this much more times. I think I answered the questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the initiatives that have been taken. Now I would like to pass this mic to Viraji. Can you please share your experiences, maybe highlight on the same issue that we've been discussing as well?
Sure, thank you very much. I've been waiting very patiently. I think it's a quality of a teacher. But to introduce myself, I'm Veera Lamithania, part of CSAS as a researcher, but I also teach part-time. So I just wanted to cover 2 issues. I have 2 points and 1 question for Dr. Pokhrel, who I'm not sure is with us or not, but I'll throw the question out there anyway. So I think Ashiana's question about how the teachers cope and what they can use to improve the situation links in with the 2 points that I have. So thankfully, somebody finally mentioned the point, which is Ansudha, who mentioned point of mental health. So I think if we think of students, they are children. I teach younger students, they are children. But even if you think back to yesterday, I think when we finally got our two-hour break, somebody said, oh, much awaited break, we've been waiting for this. So I think that's a big sign of, there's a lot of complaints of students, of teachers, of parents having to sit endless hours in front of screens. So I think if we look into the issue of mental health, if we make sure that they are also giving time to themselves rather than just sitting in front of a screen, it would be of value. And this is also, I think, an excellent time to teach both students and teachers the importance of emotional intelligence. That will give them a better understanding, and it should actually be a core part of education, I think. The other point is that yesterday, Mr. Narad Rizal, he mentioned that they've still had classes of music, dance, and art, and this also ties in with the mental health, which is apart from just books and learning and lots of text. There's extra activities that keep the students engaged. So that is another point that teachers can use, and this is a great way also to look into coping mechanisms. So that's point number 1. And point number 2, which is also very important, but sadly I feel like it hasn't been touched on enough in this, is equality. So when we speak of equality, there's been very few points, and I think only two people, Ms. Tuladar and Mr. Champang, have slightly touched on it, is that when we speak of equality, we've kind of forgotten about girls and women in this whole scenario. So just to give a very small example, in a household, if there's only one device and there's a boy child and there's a girl child, then as you can imagine, the device is given to the boy child. So there's always this divide of, if the parents are given a choice, then there's a preference to the boy child to be educated first. And this then moves on to the older generations where even teachers are facing problems. So because I'm also part of administration of a school, we faced a lot of issues where teachers, female teachers, have not only the task of teaching online, but they've also had the added burden of, if someone's sick at home, they have to look after them, and if and also of course of completing the household chores that are already there. So these are, I think, the two main points that I feel have been largely missed in this 2-day discussion. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that. And then the final question that I had for Dr. Pokhrel is that he mentioned that technology is not an issue, but instead the knowledge divide. But my question is, currently, isn't knowledge dependent on the technology and access to it? That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was really a question that really should have been talked about more, because me being a gender student myself, we always talk about how there's a gender digital divide that we need to talk about, which we do not talk about enough at all. And even how you addressed about the problem of female teachers, they would rather let their students, their children learn than them teaching. So it's always the priorities that change. And being a woman, the priority is always other people rather than themselves. And it is not addressed enough, for sure. I agree. And I guess we can create more more regional dialogues. We could talk about these issues more, about how there is gender digital divide and how females and women and even other community members, because there is whole LGBTIQ issue, even in education, maybe that issue can also be touched. So finally, I see one more hand raised, and that's Nishal sir over there. So Nishal sir, over to you.
Just a bit of light-hearted humor here, because I'm not a faculty. I don't teach at your college. I don't teach at your university. I only teach senior military and police officers at the Army Command and Staff College. I don't teach civilians at all. And last week, there was a class that I had to take. I only give them international relations subject, because when they are going for UN peacekeeping operations, they have to learn about the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the conflict there, Lebanon, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, and all these, we have officers in Libya now, in Iraq also. So I just teach them the country situations and what you have to face with. And the class was at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I'm in my t-shirt. And the officers in the Zoom were all in their insignia, full uniform, and with their belts. And one officer even told me that he got up early in the morning to polish his shoes. And he was showing me shoes also. And in the police, you have to polish your shoes in such an extent that your face should be shining in your shoes. So that was what is discipline in Zoom platforms. I said, this is impossible in any classroom, because you don't get up early in the morning and start polishing your shoes and start ironing your clothes to prepare for your class. So that was a bit of the women officers even had their hair bows, and as if they were going to the office. And so that was the level of discipline in the army and in the police, even in the Zoom platform. So I think that bit of humor is that those of you that are still in your shorts or in your pajamas, that is indiscipline in military police. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nichal sir, for bringing a light-hearted conversation when we were having a little bit serious issues. I think, thank you so much. Now we have two hands being raised. One is of Vidya. She's been requesting me to let us speak about our experiences as a rural student perspective. So over to Vidya.
Thank you so much. Namaste and hello everyone. I am Vidya Neupani, staff scholar pursuing my undergraduate studies in development studies, second year in National College. I actually want to share my experience from rural student perspective. I belong to a rural part of Nepal where there is no good access of electricity and internet. Well, the electricity here is really unreliable, especially during the rainy days, and we do not have access to Wi-Fi. Therefore, I require to rely on mobile data, and mobile networks here is really shaky. We do not have a consistency in network strength. I get disconnected from class multiple times, and even today I was disconnected multiple times from this seminar too, and that's really disturbing. I cannot attend my classes staying inside my room or house because there is no network inside the home. But and even if it's raining or even if it's too sunny, I am compelled to stay outside the home. This is really troublesome. And I also tried contacting multiple ISPs, but they denied because they said that due to the geographical location of my residence, it's really difficult for them to set up a Wi-Fi here. And but I'm thankful to National College that it provides access to recordings even when I face some disturbances in the class, so that I can again go over the classes, go over the parts which I have missed. And there are around 4 students and 2 teachers in my home, and the cost of using online platform for per person costs around 1200, and this is slightly expensive or costly than Wi-Fi. But again, I believe that online education is a compulsion and is a necessity for now. And I also see the schools around my locality that have been closed, and students are deprived of basic right for education, which is really saddening. And I'm thankful to Kathmandu University and National College that we are not compromising on our studies. And I forgot who said this, but I had heard a term called willingness in our discussion. So I believe willingness is essential, and I'm doing pretty good despite these issues I'm facing. And in fact, I'm growing personally with intense studies and more browsing in the internet and going through a lot of case studies. So that's my experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vidya, for sharing this story. I mean, I think your experiences has given us the new perspective here, because we are discussing about the rural setting from yesterday, and I think we've got a very live example now. I'd like to pass this mic to Shreya now. Shreya, please share your experiences.
Oh, thank you. So I would like to give this so I've been always very vocal about the reforms that need to be made in terms of the educational practice, especially at university level. And as somebody who has friends that are studying abroad, even for their undergrad, I do feel that certain disadvantage over them because of their resource access. They have more resource access compared to me. And that's also to do with the quality of teaching. So in terms of that, the presentations that were done in the previous session, it highlighted how in university, at least in the university level, the teachers, majority of the teachers belong to the age group of around 40s to 50s, 40s to 60s. So I think that is also where the whole disconnect between the students and the teachers arises as we have shifted to the online education. Like, sure, yes, there is the whole technical know-hows, differences in the technical know-hows, that is there. But since we've talked about job market and the skills needed, I personally feel like even though hearing from Nishal sir and Ujjwal sir about how online degree or will not really make that much of an impact in terms of recruitment, it does, that kind of reassurance is helpful. But then another part of me is still doubtful because I will be entering in the job market in a year's time, and I've spent majority of my undergraduate course level just online education. It hasn't really been the most fruitful, and I have been fortunate enough to be in a position where I have been getting a lot of opportunities, but these opportunities have been also remote. So I am, again, deprived from working in a real-time office experience. I don't have that. I don't know what it is like to work with somebody in a group in a very pressurized environment. So there is a lot of experiences that I have been deprived from. And in terms of skill generation or of course, like aside from my academic endeavor, my professional endeavor definitely has equipped me with skills that is going to give me a certain comparative advantage. Hopefully will give me a comparative advantage in the job market. But these skills, it has come from my own personal willingness to generate, obtain those skills. And very little has been passed down from the traditional teaching method, especially through online courses, and that's to do with the examination, the traditional, the rigidity that these senior teachers have. And even though from an institutional level, the college, the institutions have been really putting in an effort to make sure that the students and the teachers are on the same page, the gap is bridged. They have been putting that effort, and it's so evident. But sometimes that effort is in vain because it all comes down to the traditional customs, the norms that these senior teachers have been accustomed to, and you can't exactly blame them for it. But even though there has been effort from the students as well, from the teachers as well, and from the institution as well, it's still difficult to find a common ground because of the disconnect in the experiences and the digital natives, that the term digital natives that Dr. Pokhrel used in the beginning of today's session. So that's just an experience that I think that is also something that we would need to work on, especially in terms of skill generation and moving forward. Like institutions might have to, like maybe pay more attention to is recruiting teachers that are more younger in age, or recruiting teaching assistants that are able to connect with the students better than the senior teachers. So intervention has to be made in this particular sector to ensure that our future, like the upcoming working population, is equipped with all the necessary skills and experiences to make the most out of the opportunities they're given. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shreya. It was really insightful, like learning your experience and how it is difficult and how it is even dangerous. I mean, for us mentally, just to think about us learning that everything is online, and then we go like outside of the classes, and then we don't have any experience because everything has been online. So I guess this is also something that would be addressed eventually, because I don't think so any people would have option, because the world is in pandemic right now and everybody is going through the same phase. So I guess we need to wrap up this session now. But before that, I'd like to say that if students have any perspective on what they would want to talk about on the regional seminars, similar seminars, then they can just drop in the chat box, or if they have anything that's short, you can just tell to us so that we can address more issues, and then we are more aware about what needs to be addressed. And before that, I saw one last hand. Let's just take one more experience or question from Darshan Dai. So Darshan Dai, floor is on you, and then after that, we'll just wrap up. Thank you.
So hello everyone. So my name is Darshan Parazuli. So I'm just here to add my experience on like virtual classes, and I completely agree with Vidya. Right now, being in one of the Tarai region of Nepal, I can completely relate that we are very much struggling to the electricity, because when it rains, there is no electricity here, and we're talking about the good internet connectivity, which is another major problem in Nepal. And also, I feel all of us here discussing today about the equality in education, we all are so privileged. And I wonder, like, there are many schools and other different colleges in my community at the moment, and they have not been able to like conduct their classes, and the virtual classes is not possible in the context of different rural parts of Nepal. So I see there will be like many discrimination based on the good quality of internet and the electricity. Also, like this virtual classes, it's a very good thing, because imagine like a student who have to work like 2-3 hours a day to reach to the school can now be able to just like take classes living in his own room, but we need to make sure that the good internet connectivity and the electricity is the major issue, I feel. If we talk about the major, it's not a problem in major cities of Nepal, but talking about outside the major cities, the problem. And we need, I think every one of us should, some kind of, we need to put our word out to decrease the gap that I have been seeing in Tarai region especially. Thank you, Asiana. I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Darshan. So we have a lot of questions and we're getting questions and hands being raised, but we're running out of time and I think we should conclude now. Definitely, I mean, thank you everyone for sharing your experiences, concerns, and a few questions as well. And there are challenges, but we also had lots of solutions and measures that we can take to make it more interesting and insightful. One, maybe we've been discussing from yesterday that online classes and virtual classes are complementary, but not the substitution. But definitely, I believe that digitization and user technology, leveraging technology will definitely disrupt this industry as well very soon in the future. I'd like to pass to Ashiana now and for the conclusion.
Thank you so much, Santosh. Thank you for being such an amazing moderator here. And I would like to thank everybody here for sharing their experience, also sharing their questions and answer. We had a really insightful session. We had a really engaging session. So I hope that, like I said before, if there is anything that you would like us to talk about in the regional seminar, or you would like to talk about in the regional seminar, please drop it in the chat box. Or if there's anything that we always are there, like Ujjwal sir is there, I am there, Santosh is there. So you can always send us the messages on what further we need to talk about. So having said that, I would like to conclude this session, and I would like to give this floor to Ujjwal sir to conclude this whole session.
Thank you, Ashiana and Santosh, for fantastically moderating this event. And it was quite absorbing, quite interesting. And I'm really thankful to all those who came out and spoke and also asked a very nice question, and also to the respondents who were quite instrumental in responding to the questions that those were raised on the floor. So including Viraji, Nishal sir, our principal sir, and many more. So thank you everyone for your valuable contribution. Definitely, online education is not an alternative, but online education is good from many sense. Nowadays, it is also being said that online education is green education, because one doesn't have to drive his or her car to go to the university. Everything can be done at home, right? Students won't have to ride their bike in order to go to the college. They won't have to wake up early in the morning and use a lot of resources. Everything can be done at very, less amount of resources. You can do everything. And it is also energy saving as well. One professor has to speak quite loudly by standing for 90 consecutive minutes in the classroom in order to teach 60 students. That energy can also be saved. And students can also save a lot of their energy by staying at home and focusing on study instead of wasting a lot of time on the way, while commuting to the colleges. Even a lot of girls students that we experience that they do not come to the college. When inquired about why didn't you come to the college, because we didn't see you, then they complain about their menstrual period. Right. So this has already been very much mitigated by the online classes. When they are suffering because of such kind of problems, they won't have to miss out classes, because they can stay at home in their comfortable bed and just turn on their gadgets. So in some way, in many ways, I said, no, not only some way, online classes are quite gender friendly, eco friendly, and quite useful to all kind of people as well. But the most important thing is access to internet. This has to be ensured to everyone. Just like what Darshan and Vidya said, they have problems in accessing internet. But once you have access to internet, we have got a lot of solutions. And providing internet services is not a big deal nowadays. As chairperson of president of Subisu CableNet yesterday said that, distributing lines to the rural area is not that big problem, but there is a need of the will from the government, because they have been charging a lot of money. That's why government should come out with the initiative that why not to provide reliable and durable internet services to all the citizens. So once internet facility all over the world, all over the country, all over the community is ensured, I don't think online classes will be troublesome anymore. Rather, it will contribute a lot to environment, society, and our learning practice in newly digitized customs and newly digitized system. So having said all this, thank you very much for your excellent participation. So this had been an outstanding seminar for past 1.5 days. So I would like to thank everyone. Now it's time for me to request Christian Ashley first for your concluding remarks, followed by Dr. Nishanath Pandey of CSAS. So I would like to request Christian Ashley, Director, Political Dialogue Asia Program CAS. So your turn. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chair. And thank you so much to all the speakers, all the participants who joined us over the last 2 days in what I believe was a very, very successful start of the CAS Spaces initiative. So thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, your experiences, your knowledge. I think it became quite clear that we all had a very steep learning curve in the last 1.5 years when it comes to digital education. We were forced to improve on many levels, and I think the discussion over the last 2 days has shown that we achieved quite a bit in this endeavor. But of course, it's an ongoing challenge, and I think the different perspectives have helped us to think about future improvements as well. Now, some parts of the discussions were not a big surprise. Government representatives would say that government does a lot to make sure that there's quality educations. Grassroots representatives would say government does not enough to make sure that there's quality education. Teachers would say that students could be a little bit more active and participative. Students would say that teachers could be a little bit more tech prone and also easier or better in adapting to the new situation. So that was part of the situation. And I think this is a situation that we'll always see, that we demand the other side to do better. But what I believe the last 2 days have really helped us is also to take a change in perspectives, to understand the challenges that we see on the student side, on the teacher side, on the government side, on the grassroots side. And I believe that there were a lot of takeaways that we can actually take to the regional level in the second step of our project. I think the biggest challenge is to make sure that these voices are heard who could not be with us in the last 2 days, be it for a lack of digital infrastructure, be it for a lack of electricity, be it because they are just in the wrong age group. I think it's a whole different ballgame if you talk about primary students or even preschool students compared to students in higher education. And I'm happy that we had a lot of speakers who were able to discuss the situation of those students who are sometimes left behind because of the disadvantages that they face. And to me, it is very important that we continue to involve these voices in our discussion. My colleague Megha Salma has said it at the very beginning of this workshop. We believe that no one should be left behind. And I really, really hope that this is something that can be achieved in Nepal, but also can be achieved in the whole of Asia. And I hope that CAS Spaces and our webinar today will be a contributing step in this effort. I would like to thank again very much our wonderful partners, the National College of the Kathmandu University, and of course the Center for South Asian Studies. It was wonderful to work with you in preparing this event, and I'm already looking forward to the next event in Nepal. Who knows, maybe also a face-to-face event in a not too distant future. For now, I hope that all of you will stay safe and continue your work, your effort on improving the education in Nepal and in the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Christian. Now the final words by Director of CSAS, Dr. Nishchalnath Pandey. Please, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ujalji. Well, my job is fairly easy. I'll be very short. Thank you so much for all this effort. I'd like to thank National College, Kathmandu University, the principal, the entire faculty, the two moderators, Ujjalji, for this excellent seminar. We had very informative and good discussion since yesterday. A lot of things that I did not even know. For instance, the government charges 40% tax on internet. So why should it charge? If you are even giving emphasis on internet connectivity, you are charging so much of tax. We heard this morning that some students who were shy to ask questions in the classroom are now asking questions virtually. That is something new for me, and that is something to take home for. Thirdly, we heard that disabled students, for them, it is not a difference at all. They used to go to college in a very difficult manner. The transportation used to be difficult, but now they are finding it easy to learn from the classes. We heard a lot of new issues, new stories. Colleges and schools that ran online classes during the pandemic, they were told by local government to stop it. They were told by other rival colleges to stop it because we are not doing online classes. How can you do it? So these are new issues that are coming up. And if there are certain schools that want to run online classes, why shouldn't they be allowed? Just because your rival school does not have the facility. So a lot of new stories, new issues came about. CAS spaces this morning was very useful. Young students got to voice their concerns and their issues. We talked about power cuts. You know, our European friends, our friends in Singapore cannot even understand what it is like to live in a place where there is no electricity at all. So that was something new to offer to our foreigner friends who have been joining us from overseas. Probably this issue will also come about in our CAS spaces to be held in other countries in South Asia, because there are issues of power cuts there also. And there are physical issues, you know, physical pain. Some faculty, elderly faculty spoke about eyes hurting and or upper back pain and so forth since morning to afternoon. Young students don't face it, but the faculty will have to face it. We had 100 participants yesterday, even 100 today. We have 73 right now. That's very good. So I think this has been a very good start, and in our collaboration with the National College, I hope to collaborate more with the college in the months and years ahead. But the final thanks to Mr. Christian Eschle, Director of the Political Dialogue Asia program of the Adenauer Stiftung, and Megha Sharma for starting this CAS Spaces initiative, which I think will go a long way in South Asia. I think this is the real concern and challenge for us in the region, not only just for Nepal. I think the same issues will come up in Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, perhaps a little different in Southeast Asia, because they don't have the poor connectivity and poor electricity transmission lines. So thank you very much and stay safe. All the best to you in the college, to the students and the faculty. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nishal sir, and everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. Take care.